stage. Hello?
Yeah, I cannot hear you. Can you, inside your settings, you can play around with it and make sure that's going to your headphones?
Yeah, my headphones aren't plugged in. My audio should be my mics. Yeah, my mics. It's showing that I have audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And let me, okay, edit mic settings. Let's see.
Hold on, let me switch it.
Yep.
What about now? Okay, it still says I'm in the feed, but
I can hear you. Well, hold on, I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me.
oh no, I can't. Hold on, then it might be my speakers. Default MacBook Air. Yeah, it says my audio is on. My HDMI is plugged in. Let me unplug the HDMI. Hold on.
Well, here, let me see. Let's see if I can hear you. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you in my speakers. Hold on, MacBook Air speakers. What the heck is this? Hello. Echo cancellation. What happened? Call ended. Camera. I don't sell that he's in here. Display port. Hello. Let me unplug this. Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Yeah, it says hello. Echo cancellation. Yeah, it says it works. It says everything is fine. Leave audio. Hello?
Yeah, hey, you're coming out loud and clear, but I don't think you can hear me.
No, I don't think it doesn't show that you're in here. Maybe do we have a different link or something? Or
you might. You know what? Let me see. Make sure I can see you. No, but I think maybe you can't see. You don't see me?
No, I don't see you.
I'm gonna kick you out and then come back and click on the link. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right.
Come on in.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it back up. Gotta go back to Facebook to get that link back. Oops, hold on. Bro. There we go. All right. Let's see if we got it now. Continue as me. I'm Yali. All the settings should still be the same.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
I don't hear or see you. But I don't see myself either. Hold on. I don't know what's going on with this. It says I'm right there in the camera. Audio.
I see you here. But in fact, let me do this.
Stop cam. Let me cam back.
Settings. My audio. Let me pull up my audio thing. Let me try this.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Not on the stream. I think this black screen is supposed to be you because I can see myself at the bottom, but you're black. I see you now.
All right, can you hear me?
I don't hear you yet, but I see you. Oh, your mic is off. Your mic is off.
Okay, mic is muted. Okay, there we go. How about that? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I'm hanging up, sir.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm hanging up for you too.
Okay.
let's see. I'm gonna just put my little thing in here.
Okay.
FaceTime, no. Camera, audio, input. Hello, can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Logitech. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Let's see.
I think he has to bring me up.
Audio, default Logi. Yeah, speakers. Now I can't even hear you.
Oh man.
Standard definition.
I don't know what's going on. I think he has to let me up.
Virtual background. Let's see. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
But I cannot hear you. There's
gonna have to
something
message
going
him.
on where I cannot hear you.
I'm
I was
Gray.
hearing you, but let me see what's up with.
Think
Could it be my
you have
speakers?
to let me up or something. Yeah, I think you ought to let me up, sir.
Okay, here we go. Output. I do not hear anything from you, but you can hear me now, which is really weird. Okay, and so why can't I hear anything? Just give me 1 second. Sorry about all this.
Woo! Man, I'm excited. We're waiting on. We got a little bit of tech diff, a little bit of technical difficulty. That's about it. And we are going to be on in just a minute. I think it's going to be a powerful debate. I think it's going to be dope. I'm excited. I was a little nervous at first, but I guess that's just the pre-game jitters or whatever it is they call it. These are not actually plugged in. Let me take those off. How's everybody doing out there? We just got a little bit of technical difficulty. We're going to get started any minute now. You guys who are watching after will probably have to fast forward a little bit. You're backstage. Only the host can see you. The host may add you to the stage at any time. Be ready. Yeah, he just can't see me because he's got to add me to the stage. Yeah, I should have read that to him. It says, you have to add me to the stage. I hope he's not trying to chicken out. Oh, there he is. You got to add me to the stage. You got to add me to the stage. There you go. All right. All right, cool.
Now I can plug in my thing here.
All right.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to grab some water and then we can begin.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to take it here.
Bum, 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 bum. Do 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 do. How's everybody doing? We're getting started in just a couple of seconds.
Okay, so let's begin here. Bismillah. All right. So let's go live. All right. So we are here with tell your name is Hamza. Hamza, what's your last name?
Najila, legally Hogan. I still go by
Hogan.
Hamza, so.
Okay, wonderful. So this is kind of a very special discussion. I don't want to really consider it like a debate. I want it to be more like a discussion where we could talk about slavery in our books.
Sure.
So just to enlighten the audience and the people who will be watching this.
Yeah.
So you're kind of a family friend in the sense like we go back.
Yeah.
I think you were like 5 years old or something like that, and you were hanging out at my house.
I was very young. Yeah, I was very young. very little. Family friend. It's been a long
Right.
time though. It's been many years, I think, since I seen you last.
Yeah, because I'm really surprised. You still look like that little boy I remembered. And I remember
Oh,
I remember I gave you that little video to watch. It was like some movie or like cartoon you're watching. You kept watching it over and over again.
yeah.
And I had another one for you. I'm like, do you want to watch this other one? Aren't you getting tired of that?
Uh,
And so you were like, no, no, that's okay. I like this. What was the cartoon that you were watching?
I don't remember. I don't remember. It's been a. I don't know. What was it? Do you remember?
No, I don't. But was it Caillou or I can't I
It
can't
might have been.
I,
I do remember watching Caillou a lot as a kid. I was one of those kids that
yeah,
if I found something I liked, I would do it over and over again.
sure. Yeah,
I'm still
so
like
well,
that.
we used to hang out a lot actually because your dad used to take you with us to the masjids and
Hmm.
places like that. And so when you were like 4 or 5, I spent a lot of time with you. And so I had never imagined that I would actually be having a discussion, a debate with you on these issues.
Yeah.
And so now you belong to the ethnic Hebrew movement or belief. It's a religious belief, right?
Yes, Hebrew Israelites. It's the belief that blacks, Hispanics, and natives are ethnically Israelites, or what many would say Jews, but the correct term is Israelites. And our belief system is the Torah. So some of us practice in our heads how we think of it. Some of us are Israelites and don't know it, and practice and don't practice the Torah. And some of us do know we're Israelites and neither practice or don't really practice the Torah.
Hmm.
So that's how we view ourselves.
What do you think of those Hebrew Israelites who shout people down in New York? You got those videos.
Hmm.
Have you
Yeah,
ever
we
seen
we
these?
just we just were. I don't know if you're still in the same city as me or not, but there's a popular neighborhood called the Lexington Hills here. We just got done teaching over there. We go and we do a monthly cleanup in different neighborhoods, and we went to go clean up the area, and we street teach with a loud speaker or speaker that we
Hmm.
have. So yeah.
Yeah. From my experience, though, Hebrew Israelites they run away from debate. In fact,
Oh.
I chased three down
Uh
a
huh.
couple of weeks ago here in Tampa
Uh huh.
because they're not able to defend their religious beliefs from Muslims. They
Okay.
take a really bad beatdown. In fact, I have a term for them. We call them Hicks.
Colin.
Hebrew Israel. We call them Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
Hebrew Israelite cowards on the run.
Oh.
And I don't. What I want though from you, because business is business. Family, Matt. That's we can definitely talk, off court and be friends and all that. But
Yeah.
we are getting down to the crux of the matter. And if you are trying to defend the Bible and slavery within the Bible, so
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get the beat down like everybody else gets,
Okay.
and so and but I don't want you to take it personally, and I don't want you to be a hick. I
Mm.
don't want you to be running away from debates because you suffered a lot in these debates because you can't defend what you believe.
Oh.
you know yeah,
Gotcha.
so that's just, you give me a promise you're not going to become a hick.
I promise.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
All
Yeah.
right, all right. So yeah, just to let every so here's how the format's going to be. I can start off giving you. We're going to
Yeah.
start off talking about the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to talk about the Quran and Islam and slavery in both. So
Uh-huh.
I'll give like a maybe 6-7 minute introduction of
Mm-hmm.
what I believe the problem with the Bible is, and then we'll have a 2 minute back and forth type discussion
Okay.
where you try to defend, and then you'll come up, of course, and give your 6 minutes, and then we can have like a discussion back and forth on it, like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, like that.
I got you.
So yeah, and so let me just show everybody what. I'm going to share my desktop. And if you have anything to share, your screen or anything like that, feel free to do so.
Okay.
And so this is what you sent me of why you believe Islam is not true here.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically you stated something like some Arab slave traders or something like that. They castrated the slaves, or I believe something like that, and therefore you concluded Islam is false. And we all can agree to castrate and to beat. Or yeah, here's like a little. This is exactly what you sent me. Something about Arabs opening up liquor stores and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But what I want you to understand
Yeah.
is we have bad apples on both sides. There's criminals who are Hebrew Israelites,
Mm-hmm.
just like we got bad apples too. But what we judge our beliefs based on what the scriptures teach,
Mm-hmm.
not what individual actors do. Can you accept that?
We teach based on what the scriptures teach, not individual actors. Sure, but also you left out the top part that says, "And I actually read the Torah and Tanakh for myself. The claims I was taught my whole life about it being lies was false." That was the main premise behind why I
Well,
left it. But
you're going to get schooled on that in just a few minutes. But
okay.
you and I have something we can agree in judging what is right and what is wrong, and that is the type of mistreatment to beat, in this sense, castrating a
Mm-hmm.
slave.
Yeah.
If any of our books, I mean, this is what you wrote. Why Islam is false. Well, if Islam teaches that, then I will leave Islam today.
Mm-hmm.
If it in any way endorses or turns a blind eye or accepts this kind of behavior
Uh huh.
to beat and castrate a slave, something like that, then
Yeah.
that's a false book. Would you
Okay.
agree?
No, no, I wouldn't agree. But also, my premise is not that the religion is false because of what happened to us. My premise is that I believe that the Quran in general is false.
Hmm.
And also, that being stated clearly, I think that the people who are the predominant people, the progenitors of the Islamic faith, I would even agree that they don't practice correctly. But
Okay.
I think that it's a sign that it's not something my people are supposed to follow.
Okay. So let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do my 6 minutes right here, and
I
I'll
got you.
open up with my presentation here,
Okay.
just so that we got it clear on what, on, to beat a slave, to do these type of castrations, type
Hmm.
things like that,
Yeah,
that is just unacceptable and it is falsehood.
for sure.
So I will start off. Let me get my clock going here. I will start off with a little happy face on slave beating. Who could
Hmm.
be so sick and twisted as to put a happy face on slave beating? Well, you're
Hmm.
going to find out it's actually the Bible that does so.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm gonna open up with First Peter.
Hmm.
I don't know if you can see that. First Peter chapter 2, verse 18. It said, "Servants, be submissive to your master with all fear, not only the good and Gentile, but also the harsh."
Uh
So
huh.
when he castrates you, you are to be subservient to him. So obviously, the slave master, when he's reading this, it's going to give him the justification for doing that.
Uh huh.
It's going to give him the sanctification for doing that.
Hmm.
It's going to give him the gratification because the very book he is reading
Yeah.
is justifying him to do these horrible things to him.
Hmm.
Says you will be submissive to that type of
So
slave.
real quick, are you
Hold
doing
on.
this?
Let me finish my 6 minutes, and then we'll have the discussion. Then you do 6 minutes, and then we'll have the discussion.
Okay.
So that's the problem right here. So now in child sex grooming, the person, when he wants to groom the child, he tries to convince that child, let this man do this to you,
Hmm.
and all kinds of abuses as well. And this is called grooming, where you try to normalize inappropriate behavior, and you try to groom him, try to get him to accept this man to do these things too. And shockingly, First Peter chapter 2, verse 18 and 24 is a grooming verse. Let's keep reading. It says, therefore, it is commendable if because of conscience towards God one endures grief, suffering wrongfully. For what credit is it to you if when you are beaten for your faults,
Hmm.
you take it patiently? Now he's grooming him, as you can see. You take it to your credit. You got that beating, right? For what credit is it for you if when you are beaten for your faults, you take it patiently? But when you do good and suffer, if you take it patiently, this is commendable before God. So it's not only talking about letting this man do this to you, but who? It's not just a slave master, it's a psychopath.
Mm.
It's a psychopath which is torturing you, cutting off your testicles, as you were pointing out. It can listen to what the text says very clearly here. For what credit to you for when you are beaten But if you, for when you do good and suffer, so you're not doing anything wrong, you're doing everything right, and this guy just wants to pick on you. What's up, boy? You got a problem? And he starts doing all kinds of horrible things to you. And if you take it patiently, that's commendable before God. God is happy that you're getting tortured by a psychopath. Allahu Akbar. Okay? Now, this is the most appalling part of if what I've quoted for you is not made you want to barf, the next verse will. For to this you were called. This is your calling in life. What? To be beaten by a psychopath. That is your calling in life. For to this you were called, because Christ also suffered, right? So when you for like you gotta let's just take an example. You got this little black boy and you take a belt and you start whipping him and torturing him and doing all kinds of things. It's saying that you're gonna be just when that of course you'll be crying and sad, but the Bible is saying, look, you're just like Jesus now. I made you just like Jesus. So it's not just that the Bible is endorsing or is grooming the victim here, but what it's doing, it's putting a smiley face on slave beating. See this? It's trying to it's trying to give him all kinds of wonderful things. It's commendable before God that you're going to get this slave beating over here. So and so finally, when we get to the Islam portion, you might ask, okay, well, what will people do should do in this position? There was a slave which was beaten. And you know what that slave did? I'm talking about during the time of Islam, and we'll talk about this in Islam when we get to the Islamic part. Prophet Muhammad marched right into that slave master's house and says, "Don't you beat that slave." That explicit passage is missing from the Bible. This is the difference between Islam and Hebrew Israelite biblical belief. Our books clearly condemn any kind of beating of slaves, but the Bible grooms the victim to meet the needs of that evil slave master. And so, this is why it is the evidence that Christianity, it is a slave master's religion. And when we say it's a slave master's religion, because the Bible got his back. I got your back. I'm going to groom these people so that to meet your evil needs. But I think the text which you need to explain, this totally destroys. You stated very clearly. You said, "Listen, like where's the text over here?" You said that basically they Arabs castrated slaves, and you objected to that. You saw that as wrong, but that's exactly the type of behavior the Bible endorses. It says, "Servants, be submissive to your master, but also to the harsh." Okay, so there's my 6 minutes. I would like for you to defend First Peter, and then I got another Bible verse for you afterwards. Go ahead, please.
Oh, okay, got you. What is the context of First Peter? What's happening in Israel at the time that First Peter is being written?
This is your 6 minutes. If you want to go straight to dialogue, we can do that. If you're talking to
So,
me.
okay, I got you. So the point behind what Peter is talking about, he's actually talking about the rulership in Israel. They're not talking about rulership of the Romans. So that's what's happening in Israel at the time. It's a Roman occupation that is off of the back of a Greek occupation that they had just come out of. So when Peter is giving this dissertation, he's telling the Israelites that instead of rebelling against our rulership, we need to make sure we're always on one accord with them, which is in alignment with what Christ said, because he said, even though the Pharisees and Sadducees are hypocrites, you need to do what they teach you. And for the record, I don't remember seeing anything about castration in any of those verses. Right? The Israelites had the understanding that they were waiting on a Christ to come and rebel and give them the kingdom back. Of course, we know that that didn't happen at that time. We're still waiting for the second coming. And so when we have conversations about these scriptures, we need to be well understood that these are not scriptures that are talking about letting a person come and whip you. It's about being long suffering, meaning having patience in our negative day-to-day situations. Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure I can move this over. Deuteronomy. I think I got that in the lexicon, actually. Hold on. First Peter 2:18, lexicon. Okay. So it actually states 1 Peter 2:18, servants. All right. Hold on. It just stopped. Servants, be submissive to your lords with all respect, and not only to those who are good and gentle, but also to those who are unreasonable, meaning curved or crooked. So this is, hold on one second, submissive masters. I want to go back to Masters 1203. Despoteis is the word in Greek. Of course, it's not, I wanted to be quick. Properly, an authority figure who exercises complete jurisdiction or unrestricted power implies someone exercising unrestricted power and absolute domination, confession, no limitation or restraints. Hold on one second. Master Lord Timothy. God is thus addressed by one who calls himself his servants, rulers of the church. So the context of this verse is talking about the rulers in Israel. It's not talking about the Romans that are occupying them at that time. So that's it that I have to respond on that.
All right, cool. Okay, I'm just going to share my desktop here. I'm going to start the clock again here. Give me 1 second here. I can find my reset. Okay, so it looks like you needed some hand holding here to go through the text.
Okay.
And once again, I'm going to show you exactly where it states that it is okay to do these things. Look, what is this is directed towards slaves. This is very clear. Servants, all the stuff you're talking about with Romans, blah, 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 that's irrelevant to what the text is saying here. It says, servants, be submissive to your masters with all fear, not only the good and gentle, but also the harsh. So when he cuts your balls off, you got to submit to that and all the other tortures. Now, that's clear, black and white. If you cannot read, all right, if you cannot understand, then I will walk you through this. I will handhold you through this. But that is explicit. It's very clear from the text that what do you do when somebody let's the example you gave, cut off your testicles. What do you do in this situation? You are to be submissive towards him. All right. Now remember what from the example Prophet Muhammad gave. That slave got up right away and went right to Muhammad. Muhammad came and said, "Don't you beat him again." He said that, and so that's the big difference we are seeing between the Bible and the Quran and Islam. One book explicitly, and we'll get there, condemns any kind of slave beating. But the Bible says, no, you're going to be submissive to that. Now, I have one question for you. After reading the passage, I'm going to walk you through it again because it seems like you're not familiar with this passage.
Okay.
It lists many benefits of getting your slave beating. For what credit is it to you? For if you are beaten for your faults, you take it patiently. But when you do good and suffer, so now it's talking about the psychopath. You're doing good, and he's still causing terrible suffering to you. If you take it patiently, that's commendable before God. But in Islam, that's an abomination. Allah said that the doors of hell will open up for you if you do that. But we'll get there. And then it said that this slave beating, to be beaten by a psychopath, is your calling in life. For this to you, verse 21 says, for to this you were called, because Christ also suffered for us, right? Well, didn't Jesus suffer too? So if you're complaining you're holding your growing area because it got cut off, what's the response? Obviously, it's a great crime which has been committed. But what's the Bible's response? Jesus suffered too, right? This is your Bible, which you're not able to defend. You're talking about some Romans and what, blah, blah. I didn't even understand what you're talking about. So I will ask you now to please confirm for all of us today. I think that's my 2 minutes. That's my 2 minutes. I'll try to refute the points which I'm presenting to you.
Yeah, so here's why it's important that you read Peter from the top. Because if you had knew anything about what's written in the Bible, it's based off of the Torah. In the Torah, it's literally a sin to go into the temple with no male member. If you're castrated, you can't go into the temple. This is not literally talking about actually being castrated. There's nothing about castration in this. This is about being long suffering. You would know that if you read Second Peter from the top. He's explaining it from the top. He's talking about being patient and long suffering through their suffering because they're going through a Roman occupation. They're waiting to be saved from the Roman occupation. That's what he's talking about.
Roman occupation is irrelevant to the fact that do you acknowledge? I mean, can you not read and see
Uh-huh.
that this is telling you that to allow a psychopath to
Mhm.
beat you? Is that clear from the text?
No, that's not clear from the
Okay, let
text.
me read. Let
It's
me
it's
handhold
it's
you
it's not
if you
clear
can't
from the
read.
text. Just like Surah Maida saying Allah is the best of deceivers. That's
Oh, we'll
obviously
get.
not what that means,
Islam
right?
is. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. We'll get to Islam later, and I will school you on that as well.
Okay.
And so we're gonna have fun with you with that one, okay? But that's
Okay.
off topic. That we'll get to the Islam part.
Hmm.
So you cannot see the psychopath being beaten by. It's tell it the whole portion of First Peter chapter 2,
Uh-huh.
verse 18. It's about let this man
Hmm.
do this to you. Can you see that?
Yeah, I get that it's talking about being long suffering. Sure.
Okay, so what is it telling the slave? It's
Hmm.
saying, let this man do this to you. And we're clear on that, right?
No.
Okay, let's read it again. If you can't read, we'll
Hmm.
we'll we'll help we'll walk you through this, okay?
Yeah.
It says right over here. Servants, be submissive to your masters with all fear. Do not only the good and gentle, but also the harsh.
Hmm.
It's saying be submissive to your masters.
Let
For
let's
it
say
is,
let's say
hold on,
for
let
a
me read this. Is
moment.
my turn. For this is commendable
Hmm.
if because of conscience towards God one endures grief and suffering wrongfully. For what credit is it to you if when you are beaten for your faults,
Hmm.
it's to your credit that you take it patiently? So that's where I am telling you, underline this if you got a Bible at home.
Hmm.
It says you take the beating patiently. So that means you should allow this man to do this to you. That's what it means to take it patiently. Are you clear? Or do you need to go back to the third grade?
Hold on one second. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and guile, and hypocrisy, and envies, and the evil speakings, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby, if so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious. This is about being long suffering, sir. It's not about being okay with castration. In fact, if you read the Torah, you would know that the Lord said that it is allowable for us to defend ourselves. So let's say for a second, Peter
Mhm.
is saying that, which he isn't. Let's say for a moment he is saying that, which he's not. Then it wouldn't matter because the Lord already told us we can defend ourselves from people that encroach on us. In
Mhm.
fact, in the New Testament,
Well, that's
in
contradiction.
fact,
It,
in the
the,
New Testament, it says
mm,
clearly
right,
um,
right. Okay,
that
you could. Okay, hold on.
that
That's
we
a
can
big
defend ourselves.
contradiction. Okay, so that's a huge contradiction. First of all,
What's a
uh,
contradiction?
okay, it says, "For what credit is it if, when you are beaten for your faults,
Uh
you
huh.
take it patiently?" When you take it patiently, that doesn't mean you fight back. That's a contradiction, and
Uh huh.
that's wacky, quacky interpretations you're trying to give us
I
here.
got you. How do
Okay,
you know?
what does it mean when you take something patiently? You're like, okay, thank you. You're just gonna bear through it.
I
That's
got you.
what it means. For if you do good
Uh huh.
for and suffer, so now you're doing wrong, but you're suffering for doing good. I mean, the guy's still picking on you,
Uh huh.
basically.
Yeah.
Again, it repeats itself. If
Okay.
you take it patiently, this is what is commendable before God. Fighting back is not taking it patiently, unless
Mhm.
you're trying to feed us a bunch of horse manure here, right? That's
Okay.
an exact contradiction.
You don't believe
So,
in metaphors?
oh, so this is all metaphorical, huh?
No. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
break it down. Just like we know Allah is not the deceptive deceiver that
That's
it is
not
written
off
about
topic.
in the
That's
Quran,
off topic,
we
Hamza. Get back on
understand
topic.
that these are metaphors. Our ancestors spoke
Okay.
in metaphors, sir. We understand because we can read from the top where it says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. This is talking about being patient, sir.
So okay, so at least we agree. Look, we can agree now,
Mm-hmm.
Hamza. Let's be as honest as we can with the text. I know you're in a defensive position,
Mm.
but we can agree though that if you take it literally,
Yeah.
when it says here that the text, I mean, what First Peter here is saying that when you get that beating, you should take it patiently. If you take it literally, it means you don't fight back; you accept it. That's what it means to be take something patiently,
Okay.
unless you've got some bizarre understanding that nobody else has. And we have 12 commentaries,
Okay.
which I will light you up with if you
Mm-hmm.
try to come up with some other kind of understanding. Okay, because people have
Okay.
already commented on it, and we're going to have some fun. Okay, because I
Okay.
don't want to look, I don't want to embarrass you up here. That's not my
What
intention.
is what is
We
the
want to get to the truth. Okay, we want to get to the truth. Now, you say we got to take this metaphorically. Okay, we can go there. All right.
hold on, I got a question for you. I got
Yeah.
two questions.
Yeah.
What is the Hebrew ruling on allowing a non-Israelite to be over an Israelite? What does it say in the law? I know you don't know.
I,
So the answer
yeah.
is you cannot allow that. It's a sin. What
Okay.
is it allowed according to the Lord's law in Leviticus, Exodus, Deuteronomy? Is it allowable for an Israelite to put an Israelite into slavery? No. So how can this be talking about that? So you're
Okay.
going to
This
say
is
it's a
okay.
contradiction.
Okay. Hold on a
Unfortunately,
second.
the beginning of First Peter 2 is telling you that it's about being long suffering. It's not. It's
This
talking about
verse.
us. It's talking about
Okay.
Israelites being over Israelites and how we're oppressing each other. It's not about the Roman occupation
That's
that's happening in that time.
That's fine. That I don't This is talking about somebody. Okay, you can whoever you want this person to be,
Hmm.
I don't care. What my contention here is,
Hmm.
this is wrong for anybody.
Uh huh.
Nobody deserves to do this. So we can agree now that the main gist of what the author is trying to convey
Hmm.
is let this man do this to you.
Hmm.
That's an inescapable conclusion, and that if we can agree on that, then we can move on. So,
We
is it
don't agree on
clear?
that though, but we don't agree on that.
Let's read it again. We're going to
Okay.
keep reading it for you. If you want me to treat you like a third grader, I
Well,
will.
hold
But
on, because
let's read this
you've
again.
gone. I got you. So
Yeah.
let's break down. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you break this down? Unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builder disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner. What does that mean?
I don't know what passage are you reading
This
from?
is 2 Peter 2:7.
Okay.
I'll
And
go to
so
8.
what
And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. Who is this talking about?
I don't know.
Is this talking about the wicked? That's why that verse you said, even when you're beaten for your faults, is talking about being wicked. That's
Uh-huh,
because
uh-huh.
this is not literal. This is not talking about letting a slave master beat you. We're not
Okay,
even
okay.
allowed to put each other in slavery. It's a sin.
Okay, so what you are saying is that don't take this passage literally. Is that what you're saying?
I'm telling you that it's obvious if you read the beginning of the chapter that it's not literal.
I'm asking you.
Right.
What you are saying here is don't take this passage literally. That's what you're saying,
I'm
right?
I'm saying you should read the beginning of the chapter. Correct.
Okay, so you're saying don't read the beginning, and if you read the beginning, you'll see the stuff is all metaphorical, is what you're saying,
I didn't
right?
say it's all metaphorical, but sure, that concept is a metaphorical concept. Yes,
It's all
he's
metaphors,
using
yeah.
tact. Correct. I didn't
Okay,
say it
good.
was all metaphor.
All
You
right,
keep
all right.
repeating that, but I'm not
So
saying it.
if the problem is,
Uh
okay,
huh.
so I mean, let's first look and see what the text says literally.
Uh huh.
And then if you're saying the proper understanding within the context is to take it metaphorically,
Sure.
we can talk about that. Okay,
Hmm.
but let's first see what the text is saying literally. Let's take it literally and see what it says, and then we can move on. So the text, what it literally says, you and I can agree because again, this is about a reading. No interpretation game is playing here. The text does say, "But when you do good and suffer, if you take it patiently, this is commendable before God." Now, I do understand your point that purpose here is to take it all metaphorically. We'll get there.
I didn't say
But
that.
what we can agree, what when it says you take it patiently,
Mm-hmm.
Hamza, that means you don't fight back. All
Uh-huh.
right? That's what it means, that you just accept it and you move on. And now God is happy that you patiently accepted it. And it repeats itself over and over again. Look, it says, take it patiently. And
Mm-hmm.
so let's read it again. I shouldn't have to be doing this with you, Hamza. Okay, it says, for it is commendable if because of consciousness towards God one endures grief,
Mm-hmm.
suffering wrongfully. Okay, for what credit is it if, when you are beaten for your faults, you take it patiently? Number one, and it repeats itself. But
Mm-hmm.
when you do good and suffer,
Yeah.
if you take it patiently,
Uh-huh.
this is commendable before God. So when what it means, you take it patiently, you don't fight back. You
Okay.
just accept it. Can you understand that?
Can you? Okay. Are Paul and Peter? Are they partners in ministry?
Well, I believe Paul was a demon, so no,
You
I
think
don't
Paul was
believe
a
that.
demon?
Either Shaitan, yeah.
Oh, okay. Second Thessalonians chapter 1, 6-10. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Do you think that was wrong? What he just said, was that demonic?
What does that have to do with the question I'm asking you about
Because
taking it patiently?
I got you. Because Paul and Peter are contemporaries, and it's written several times in Acts that they all agreed on the same things. So
Okay,
do
so
you think that this is a demon speaking, that it's right to recompense them that trouble
this
you?
First Peter is from the devil. No doubt about it. It's from the
First
devil.
Peter is from the devil,
Yeah.
or do you just not understand that First Peter is talking about being long suffering?
No, it's about you gonna burn in hell with the same demon who wrote this crap in this Bible here. That's what this is about.
You said
But
I'm gonna burn in hell, or Peter's gonna burn in hell.
all of you guys are gonna burn in hell for this
Why?
is evil.
Why are
This
you
is what
mad? No, no. Which part
no
was
no.
evil? What's
Okay,
evil?
let's get back to my question.
So let's say it's literal. Let's
Oh,
say it's literal.
no 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 no.
Are
Wait a
you
second, Hamza,
saying?
Hamza, Hamza,
Are
Hamza,
you
Hamza.
saying? I got you, but it's my turn. Are you saying that if someone is beating me and instead of doing them harm, I'm not saying that this was what this is saying, that I'm the devil because I didn't, I just, I love them maybe and I wanted to, and I wanted not to hurt them? Are you saying that that's the devil?
Okay, so your question is that if let's say you're in slavery,
Yeah.
somebody's beating you,
Uh-huh.
and you take it
That's not my
patiently.
question. You're gonna lie, I
Okay, I'm
guess,
not
but that's
understanding your
not my
question.
question.
I'm not understanding your question. Me, what's
Okay.
your question?
My question is, I'm in my office right now. If someone breaks into my office and beats me up and I let them beat me up, maybe I'm scared. I don't know. You're
Mhm.
saying that that action is demonic because that's what you're. If you take that literal, that's what that's saying.
No. What my point here, of course, if you do that
Yeah.
and you just let this man beat you, you're
Okay.
stupid, but not demonic.
I believe.
But what?
Okay, you are
But
stupid, not demonic.
yeah, but I want to get back to uh, where we are having a problem between me and you,
Yeah.
and I think people can see this.
Okay.
You are having a hard time
Uh huh.
accepting what the text says literally. And so
Right, because
let's first
that verse
I
isn't
want to go
literal.
through step by step. First, I understand the way you need to take it metaphorically. Okay, that's fine. But I want you to first understand what the text is saying literally, so
Uh
we're
huh.
all clear as mud, and then we can look and see the ways we can interpret it in a better light. But
Mm.
what it says literally,
Okay.
Hamza, when
Mm-hmm.
it says that you take this beating patiently,
Uh
that
huh.
means you don't fight back. It's very important to understand that.
Yeah.
Because if you, and first of all, this is something which all Bible scholars and, and even in Islam, we would have to agree that it
Mm-hmm.
is a stupid thing
Mm-hmm.
for a slave to tell a slave for insurrection
Mm-hmm.
against the people because you're just going to make the situation so much more worse.
Bilal was a
So
slave. Did he insurrect?
yeah. No, my point. No, this
No,
is
no.
talking
Did
about beating.
Bilal insurrect?
That is irrelevant to the
Oh,
question.
it's irrelevant.
Okay, that is Hamza.
Uh huh.
We need to understand what the text is saying.
Uh huh.
The text is saying that you let this man do this to you.
Is
Can
that
you
what
see
Bilal
that?
did?
Hamza, you're off topic. Get back on topic
Okay,
and
I'm
look
on
at
topic.
First Peter,
I'm sorry.
and I want you to acknowledge
Uh
the
huh.
simple truth of what First Peter is saying here. It's saying, let this man do this to you. Can you see that?
I read the verses before, so I know that's not what it's talking about.
When it says,
Uh
and
huh.
what does it mean that you take it? It is, if you, it states very clearly here,
Uh huh.
but when you do good and suffer, if you take it patiently,
Uh huh.
it is commendable before God. So what does that mean to you? Does it mean you fight back?
No, it's talking about being long suffering. And it doesn't matter how many times you read it. You've only it showed me two verses and you forgot the 18 or 16, 17
What are
before
you
it.
talking about long suffering? What is this
It's
long
part of the
suffering
fruits of
stuff?
the spirit. Do you know what the fruits of the spirit
Fruits of
are?
spirit, long suffering, what are you talking about?
Fruits of the spirit is I'll read it for you. Hold on one second.
And that's going to explain patient when you take it patiently, because I don't want you to take us to somewhere where it's not going to explain. When it says you take it patiently,
Uh-huh.
you're going to it's going to explain that,
Well,
right?
I already showed you Second Thessalonians, seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. That wasn't the ideas that the
What
Israelites
are you
had.
talking about?
That's
What does it
sec
mean you take it patiently? What are you trying to
right.
tell
I
us here?
told you this is about being long suffering. This is about going through trial and tribulation with our people. It's not talking about as a slave, a literal slave.
What is it? How is that answering my question? Dude, you're just
Okay,
playing
I got
mind
you.
games up here.
Okay, what
It's
it
the
what okay,
text
I
says
got you.
take
Hold
it
on.
patiently.
Okay, you say I'm playing mind games. Okay, my apologies. Maybe I'm not being clear. Can you
Yeah.
specify which part I'm not making clear?
Okay. This is the text states,
Okay.
I'm going to read it again for you. But when
Uh-huh.
you do good and suffer,
Uh-huh.
if you take it patiently,
Yes.
this is commendable before God. Now, what it means to take it patiently, meaning you don't fight back,
Mm-hmm.
you don't you don't give him lip, you just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what now you're telling me that my and everybody else's understanding of what it means to take it patiently is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you, Hamza, and I think everybody else is kind of wondering, do you have some kind of different definition or that from a biblical point of view or whatever of what it means to take it patiently? What are
Right.
we missing here?
Exactly. It's talking about going through harshness patiently. It's not talking about castration though, or
Beating. We're talking
being
about beating.
literally beat. Just
Yeah.
like the Quran says you can strike your
This
wife.
is
A
not
lot
talking
of
about the
people say
Quran.
that,
No, it doesn't
that's
talk
not
about
really what
that.
that means.
We're not talking about Islam. Focus on the Bible.
Okay.
So, what does it mean to take it patiently again? Help us understand
It's
this.
about being patient with our people.
Okay, so let me read this. But if you take it patiently with our people, that makes no sense. What are you talking about? The text makes no
Right.
sense.
The reference to masters or lords is talking about the Pharisees. It's not talking about the Romans. The
Okay,
Pharisees.
so let me read it again. Now you
Okay.
help me understand this. But
Okay.
when you do good and suffer, if you take it patiently, this is talking about Pharisees, Romans. What? Huh?
I didn't. You said Pharisees, Romans. Do
Well,
you
I don't
think that
understand. Okay,
Romans and Pharisees are the
expl-
same?
okay,
No, no. I want to
explain.
know. Do you think Romans and Pharisees are the same?
No, they're not. I'm trying to
Okay.
understand you. It's
Okay.
like you'd want to run away from the obvious elephant in the room of what it
Okay.
means to take it patiently. You seem to have some bizarre understanding that I'm not getting. And
Hmm.
look, we have some people in chat. Does
Okay.
anybody here, and I reach out to anybody in chat, have any idea of what Hamza is talking about, of what it means? He seems that when the text says, if you take it patiently, this is commendable before God, what does that mean to you? It means you don't fight back and you just accept it. That's what it means. Am I correct, Hamza?
So let's read verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which are against the soul. Again, this is not talking about people literally beating you. That's why in Second Thessalonians he
What?
says
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah, okay,
How does it not talking that what you read to us tells us nothing that this is
okay, I
not
got
talking
you.
about
Let me
people
keep
beating you.
reading. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers. Who is talking in this letter?
And you tell us. Just
Okay,
explain this to
it's
us.
obvious. It's First Peter. It's Peter sending a
Okay,
letter.
First Peter. Yeah, yeah.
Dearly
Just
beloved,
explain to us.
Peter is talking to a church in this specific example. I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts. Okay, so we're getting an idea of where his head is when he's writing this letter. He's telling them we need to abstain from fleshly lusts, which are war against the soul, having our conversations honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of visitation.
That
Submit your.
explains nothing about taking it patiently, and this is commendable before God.
Okay, hold on.
Hamza,
I'm
come on, you're
confused.
just
I'm
running us
confused. I'm
around.
confused. I'm confused now. Okay. Having your conversations honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers. What is he saying? Tell me what he's saying. Tell me what you think he's saying.
No, you are to tell me how this in any way explains to us the verse 20, which I'm
Uh huh.
quoting for you. You got to explain this to us because I'm telling everybody is on the same page
Uh huh.
that when it says take it patiently,
Uh huh.
that means you accept it, you don't fight back,
Uh huh.
and that's what it means to take it patiently,
Hmm.
right? But what we can all agree in first, so look, Hamda, I've given you an opportunity,
Okay.
okay?
Mm.
I've given you several opportunities to try to
I
explain
just
away,
want you. I just want you to explain what I keep asking you to try to explain these previous verses. You don't seem to be able to do it.
unless it's relevant to the passage which I'm
So you
giving
are you
you.
saying that First Peter 2, verse 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on don't have anything to do with First Peter 2 and
No, no,
18? That's what you think? You think you
Hamza.
can read a book from the middle of the book and get and understand the book? That's what you think?
Okay, Hamza. No, I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is, I've given you, I think, ample opportunity
Mm.
to explain the passage, that one
Mhm.
verse which I've given you. Okay, and I think if you are honest with yourself, let's do this. If you are not honest with yourselves,
Mm.
okay,
Yeah.
let's. If you don't want to be honest with yourself about what the text actually says, you want to play these type of games,
Ah.
which you're playing up here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go to the commentaries. Okay, let's go to the
Now hold
commentaries.
on.
I've got
Let's
12
pause. Are
commentaries.
these
Yeah.
Christian commentaries or Jew commentaries, Israelite commentaries? What kind of commentaries?
Okay, I will. These are Christian
But
commentaries.
I'm not a
Oh, now,
Christian, so do you
that's
think that I
okay. I'm
would
gonna tell
take?
you why it's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why it's okay to go to a Christian commentary
Okay.
or even Islamic or Buddhist commentary. Okay, because you see,
Mm.
this is called the fireman fallacy, where
Okay.
when you shout fire, I'm sorry, when you shout fire
Mm.
in a theater,
Mm.
what will people do? They're going to get up and run out. They say, "Oh, I didn't mean fire. I meant like I was going to light up a cigarette."
Okay.
Nobody's going to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my point. When you give this passage I've given you, First Peter chapter 2 verse 20, to the people in general, whether they're Christians, what you will what how is it that they will understand this? So the
Uh-huh.
thing is this: when you give it to the common person,
Mm-hmm.
or you give it to the even to the general population, how is it that they're going to understand that? You
Uh-huh.
can say, "Oh, no, no, they got to understand it in the way I interpret it."
Mm.
No. Okay? When you give this passage to the general people, this is what they're going to understand it. They're going to say it is glorious to get that slave beating.
Mm.
All right? Nothing of what you have said, I have 12 here. I think 12
Uh-huh.
commentaries here.
Mm-hmm.
I can go up to 30. And I can assure you, nobody is going to even remotely agree with what you're saying. So what I'm
Okay.
saying is, when you give
Right.
the Bible to the general
Exactly. So
people,
hold on. If you
yeah,
come to me, if let's say a
yeah,
stranger is studying Islam and they come to me and they want my commentary on whether or not the Quran says you can hit your wife or is Allah a
yeah,
deceiver, you're telling me they should take
yeah.
my commentary.
Hamza, I'm
Mm.
going to destroy you on all that nonsense you're saying. You're copying arguments from the website.
Mm.
You will get schooled on that,
I
but don't
wasn't
worry,
I
we're
wasn't
not there yet.
Muslim my entire
Yeah.
childhood. I wasn't
Okay.
raised Salafi.
Hamza, don't worry. We'll get to Islam soon, and
Okay.
you will see. I will be very honest with the text, unlike what you're doing.
I got you.
So when you go to the actual commentaries of the Bible, you will
Mm-hmm.
see they're all pretty much agreeing that this is acceptable. I mean,
Mm.
we can read one if you want. This guy thinks it's glorious.
Okay, go ahead.
For what glory is it? It says a poetic and pagan sounding word,
Mm.
not elsewhere found in the New Testament. Okay, for the Old Testament and corresponds with blah 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 blah. If you make a blunder, such as a fault here, it might include such things as breaking a dish. So
Mm.
you're getting a beating for breaking a dish,
Mm.
and
Where does
receiving
it say that? Where does it say you're
yeah,
getting a beating
this.
for breaking a dish?
This is the commentary of that verse. That's
No,
what it's
no.
talking about,
Tell me
beating.
where it says you're going to be beat for breaking a dish.
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
what
read
he's
that?
saying here.
Okay.
If you make a blunder,
Uh huh.
such as he's talking about the verse. Let's read what it says. If you make a blunder, such is the meaning of fault here. It might include such as things as breaking a dish.
Hmm.
Now, one thing you
What
need
does
to
it say? What
understand
is
here.
it? I'm
Hold on,
sure it
Hamza.
describes. Uh huh.
Hamza, don't try to reinterpret what slavery is. Slavery in the world of slavery, that's acceptable behavior. If there is a little child and he steals a piece of chocolate from you,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna get a whooping.
Mm.
That's a very normal thing which takes place in slavery. That's why slavery is evil. So it doesn't have to define and tell you that what the definition of slavery and all that. This is what slavery is all across the world. Okay,
Mm.
and receive a buffet for it, or a box, or a box on the ear, which was a common punishment for slaves
Mm.
for trifling faults, and bears it with fortitude. This is exactly what the Bible says. The
Well, that's not what
meekness
the Bible says. That's a
the
Christian
meekness of
commentary.
patience the meekness of patience
Uh huh.
has no place in the word. Do you expect to be made a subject of a heroic, I can't pronounce that word, blah poem, to have your name resounding through the world, and immortalized among
Mm.
posterity? For the "for" at the beginning of the clause explains why the writer added suffering wrongfully at the end of the last. My point is this here.
Mm-hmm.
All of the commentaries here is talking about beating
Mm-hmm.
and just being and going back to the text over here.
Mm.
Uh, Going back to the text over here.
Yeah.
What does it mean that you take it patiently? And so we're done with that. You want to play interpretation games, Hamza? What I'm pointing out to you, nobody's with you. Everybody can see what you're doing here. But verse
Oh,
21,
you have a chat and I have a chat. So
yeah,
I don't think that's true,
yeah.
but okay.
Okay, verse 21 states here, for to this you were called, that this beating,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is your calling in life.
Oh,
Is
it
that
is.
clear? Is
Is
that
it?
clear
Is
from
it
the
my?
text?
It's my calling to be beat in life. That's what that says. That's what you
That's
got out of that.
exactly what it says. For to this you were called. What is
Uh huh.
this? That you take the beating patiently.
Okay,
That's
so
the
so then
context.
I got you. So how does that line up with Second Thessalonians, seeing it as a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you? How do you line that up?
Okay,
How do
what
you
does it
line up
say?
Leviticus? How do you line up Leviticus? I think it's chapter 19. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Do you think that has anything to do with that verse, or?
No, no, it
Oh, you
doesn't.
don't? You think
No.
that all of the 19 verses before that don't have anything to do with that at all?
Hamza, before we jump to Leviticus, and
Oh, okay.
and you're zigzagging us across the Bible to create this type of confusion and facade, we can
Oh,
all
I
see your
got you.
smoke screening here.
Okay.
Let's first make it clear. Versus focus, put a laser light focus on 21.
Laser light
Verse
focus.
21.
Uh huh.
It says, therefore, to this. What is this? That you patiently take the beating.
Uh huh.
This is what you were called. Do you understand that?
Uh huh.
It's for this to your call. This is your calling in life.
Hmm.
That's what the text is saying. This slave beating is your calling in life.
Okay, I
And
got
we,
you. So let's do this. Why don't we do this? Can we agree that Paul and Peter? Let's assume that that's literal. We know it's not because we actually have read the whole book. Let's assume that that's literal. Would you agree that Paul and Peter disagree on that?
I don't think there is any disagreement. No.
Okay, Second Thessalonians, seeing it is a righteous thing with God, with the Most High, to
Let's go there.
recompense
Let's go there.
tribulation
Hold on.
to
Let me pull
them
up the
that
verse.
trouble you.
Second Thessalonians. What is it?
Second
2.
Thessalonians 1 6 through 10.
Second Thessalonians 1 and verse 6, right?
Verse 6 all the way through 10, but sure,
Okay,
6 is
now
fine.
I will read it for you just so that we all have a good understanding.
Mm.
It says, God is just. He will pay back trouble to those who trouble you. All right, God will get revenge against those people who trouble you. Okay,
Hold on 1 second. I don't know
yeah.
what translation you just read.
Okay, what translation do you want me to read?
Hold on. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Give me a second. I got a lot of tabs open. 1 minute. 1 minute.
You can see my screen though, right?
Yeah, I can see your screen. I can see. I got you.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
All right. Eper de koyon theo antapia. Okay. For after all, it is just for the Most High to repay with affliction those who afflict you.
Well, what? Give me the translation so we can read it together. What's the translation
Yeah,
here?
so you can read that. I'm reading in the lexicon. Of course, that's based off the NAS concordance.
Let's
But
read the
in the
Bible.
in the KJV, I was reading under the KJV.
KJV. Let's go to KJV. I think I got it right here.
Mm.
Okay, King James Version.
Hmm.
Okay, so it says over here.
Yeah.
Is this KJV? Let me
No, that's
see.
not the KJV.
Yeah,
That looks
let
like
me
the
just
NLT or
yeah.
NIV or something like that.
Let me change that. KJV. Boom. Okay, now let's read this together.
Uh huh.
It says over here,
Uh huh.
seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation
Hmm.
to them that trouble you.
Uh
That's your
huh.
verse, right?
Yeah. So, do you think that Paul and Peter disagree?
No, there's no contradiction here, actually. So basically, what I am seeing over here is saying, okay, you be patient, and then it says the if someone does you wrong,
Uh huh.
God will recompense the tribulation.
What does recompense mean?
Recompense meaning retribution, you can kind of say.
It says
Yeah,
in
we'll
the
get back at you.
concordance.
Well, he will avenge, you can kind of say.
Yeah, so this is to give back as an equivalent recompense or tribulation. That means that the Most High is going to repay with affliction. That's the
But wait a
literal.
second. You made a big error here. Who is to say that when a slave beats his slave, I'm sorry, when a slave master beats his slave, that's a moral sin. Where do you get that from? Says who? Beating a slave is acceptable in all versions of slavery, except one, and we'll see that in just a second.
Beating us. I'm sorry. Your claim is what? Say it again.
Beating a slave, it is a fundamental part of slavery. And of all versions of slavery, you have the right to beat him like a child.
Oh,
That's slavery in
how you
every
gonna how you
way.
gonna prove that? Well, real quick. So much for the commentaries. I also called Nadir out for misrepresenting even the commentaries. Somebody else must have had this
What? Well,
experience with
hold on
you.
a second. Now I am challenging
Uh
you
huh.
to prove from the Bible
Uh huh.
that it is morally wrong to beat a slave. And no interpretations. I want it explicit.
Uh huh. I never said it was morally wrong to beat a slave.
Okay. The debate is over. You think it's right? You think it's not
I
morally
didn't
wrong?
say that it was right or
Allahu
wrong to beat a
Akbar,
slave.
Allahu Akbar.
That
You are
has
going to
nothing.
see
I
from
have not.
Islam.
That I
You're
have
going to see from
nothing.
Islam. I got you.
That's not. That was
You're,
never
you're,
my
you're
original
toast.
argument.
You see, that shows because you are a follower of the Bible. Those
Okay.
those New Testament people who follow the Bible, you will see them utter this evil out of their mouth.
Who?
I never
Who?
said it's wrong. It's morally wrong to beat a slave. Yes, it is, and we'll find that with Prophet Muhammad because he made it morally wrong.
Oh, the
You
same
don't
guy
have
that
that verse
said
in your
that the
book.
Lord said he could procreate with a
All that
6-year-old.
all that talk from you, those Arabs, they enslaved us. Who's talking now? Look at you now.
I
You are the
said in the
one who's
beginning that that was
oh
a
my
reason
God,
that had
man.
nothing to do with my
You are
transition.
the problem is with you, Hamza, when you find something in the Bible you don't like, you go off on this bizarre interpretation tangent and nobody's buying it. Okay.
Okay, so do
This
you?
verse, look, you took us on a wild goose chase.
Uh
I'm
huh.
gonna get right back to the verse. This verse 6,
Uh
which
huh.
you took as for now, of course, you educated us on the Bible. I do appreciate that. Now we know what 2 Thessalonians says.
Hmm.
God will avenge those who wrong you. Good. But that has nothing to do with verse 21
Uh huh.
when it said that this slave beating is your calling in life. That has nothing to do with that. You took us on a
Where
wild
did you
goose
read
chase.
that? Where did you
You
read it?
wasted.
Where did you read that your purpose in life is the to be beaten and
Okay, hold on a
accepted?
second. I will answer you, but do you see how you wasted so much of our time to send us on a wild goose chase into some other Bible passage which has nothing to do with it? You're wasting everybody's time up here.
Okay.
Now I will answer you, and
Hmm.
I will show you. It states very clear, for to this you were called,
Uh huh.
because Christ also suffered for us. You see, you're going to become just like Jesus. And listen to what it says here,
Hmm.
leaving us an example that you should follow his steps.
Mm.
You should follow. Was Jesus now beaten on his way to the cross? Yeah. You're gonna become just like Jesus when you get that sleeve beating.
Mm.
You see what
What was the
21 verse.
purpose of Christ having to die?
He
Nicodemus,
never died. He
one of the
never died.
Pharisees talked about it.
Yeah,
One of
no,
the Pharisees talked about it. Did you read the entire book? A
that's
Pharisee
all your
actually
that's
explained why he
mythology.
had to die.
Let's get back to verse 21. First, you
Well, you
sent
made a
us to.
claim. I
Okay,
can't rebuttal your claim.
listen, Hamza.
Uh huh.
First, you sent us on a wild goose chase into this 2 Thessalonians, verse
Okay.
6.
Uh huh.
Okay. I did not appreciate that. That did not in any way address my argument on verse 21. Now you're taking us on another wild
Well,
goose
hold
chase,
on. Let's
talking
pause
about the death
because
of
I
Jesus
think
and the meaning of it.
I want to. I want
No,
to. I
we're
want to
not going to
make the
talk about that.
confusion. I want to make sure no one is confused. Your
The
argument is
text
that.
says, okay, if you can read, the text says
Uh
that,
huh.
can you read and understand that this slave beating
Okay.
is what you were called to? This is your
Okay.
calling in
Well,
life.
you say that's
Can
my
you read
calling,
that?
but Ecclesiastes
The
12 and
Peter is
13
saying
says
that.
the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep the commandments. That's the whole duty of man.
That has
That's our
nothing to
calling.
do with what we're talking about. You're just beating around the bush.
Okay.
Okay?
How? Can you tell me how I'm beating around the bush?
Because I am telling you, and I
Hmm.
need you to accept that First Peter 21 says, for to this. What is this? Taking a beating
Hmm.
patiently from your slave master. You were called.
Hmm.
Do you see that in the text? Does it register? I mean, I'm literally hand holding you through this, Hamza, like a little
Right.
child.
Right.
Okay?
But
This
you're
is,
not accounting for what Peter said 18, 19 verses ahead
I
of
am
it.
not even going to go there anymore because you have already
Why don't we
sent
just
us
agree
on
to
many.
disagree to this verse? Do you have another verse you can go off
Yeah,
of?
I do. I do got one more.
Okay, let's
Okay.
agree to
So,
disagree on this and we can
okay.
move on.
Okay, so we know
Yeah.
that I think what the problem here is, you don't have good answers for what we're seeing here, and you're
Mm.
just zigzagging us, taking us to this part in the Bible, go
Okay.
to this verse over here. We went to Leviticus,
Mm.
we went all around,
Mm.
and somehow this was going to explain stuff for us, and it
Mm.
never did. So let
Mm.
me take you to my favorite verse. This is a horrible verse here, but
Oh,
let me
okay.
take you to an even better one, or even worse one. Titus here, okay? Titus chapter 2, verse 9 through 10. It says, teach slaves to be subject to their masters in
Mhm.
everything. Do you
Mhm.
see that? So
Brother Jeremy, he is Muslim. Hold on one second. What does that verse say it again? Titus 2, 9 through 10. I got you. Let's go
it's on
there
my
together.
screen. It's on my screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what'd you say? Your screen is up. I got your screen.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
So
we're at Titus 2, 9 through 10. Hold on one second. I got to pull up that lexicon there. One moment. Lexicon. All right, I got you.
okay. Teach slaves to be subject to their masters in everything. Try to please them. Yes, sir, boss. And look what it says here. Not to talk back to them. Is
Hmm.
that very clear to you? Shut your mouth, boy. That's the type of behavior
Hmm.
the Bible is promoting. Now, that means that he can call you every racial slur in the book,
Hmm.
all right? And you do what? Don't you talk back to him, nor steal from him.
Hmm.
And but to show that they can be fully trusted. So now get this, in every way they will make the teachings about God our Savior attractive. So seeing a slave not talking back, not stealing, is going to make Hebrew Israelitism attractive to me. So I actually got a picture here, and I want you to explain to me. Here's a picture here.
Hmm.
Look, Hamza. They're not talking back. They're not stealing from the goods.
Uh huh.
They're doing exactly what Titus. And this is supposed to make me want to be a Hebrew Israelite. Explain this to us.
What is the
Look at the
reason that
picture.
the Israelites go into slavery?
That's irrelevant to the fact. I'm asking, how is this attractive? Look
Mm.
at the text says. They will make the teachings about God our Savior attractive. I am showing you this is not attractive. This is an appalling crime against humanity. And somehow, see, the point which I'm trying to make to you, Hamza, the
Mm.
Bible is lying to you.
Mm.
It's feeding you horse manure. I don't want to use the word. And you're just buying into it. Yes, this is God's word. This is lies that you're being fed. No, slavery, seeing slaves not talking back, that's not going to make me want to become a Hebrew Israelite. And you know that.
Did
Okay.
Prophet Muhammad come to confirm
I
what
don't
was
mean to
written
laugh
before?
at your book,
Did
but
Prophet
it's
Muhammad
yeah.
come to confirm what was written before?
Oh, we'll get to Islam
How
in just
come
a
you can
second.
never answer any of these questions? Can you tell
Because
me? Can you tell me what the punishment for the Israelites is, as written in
okay,
Deuteronomy 28, for
okay.
disobeying the commandments? What's the main punishment? Who
We will
knows?
not. We will.
Oh,
Hamza,
okay.
Hamza, I'm not going to allow you to send us on another wild goose chase like you did with that Thessalonian verse, okay? And in many wild goose chases, I'm chasing after you. No, the answer's right over here. Okay, I'm like, what, dude? This doesn't explain nothing. Okay, I'm not going to allow you to do that again. We are going to have a sensible discussion.
We
You
are.
know, now we're going to go back and explain to me. Explain to me how this works. Let's read it again. They will make what these slaves who don't talk back, they don't steal, they will make the teachings of God our Savior attractive. So my question to you is simple. How does this make me want to become a Hebrew Israelite? Can you look at the picture?
Yeah, I am. I've actually read the book, so I'm completely aware of why we went into slavery. It has nothing to do with any of these verses.
I will only ask you
These
a third.
pictures have nothing to do with any of the verses you're talking about.
Okay. So this was not talking about. This is talking about a different type of slavery. So you are going to show me a type of slavery where these slaves are not talking back. Shut your mouth, boy! And you can call him every racial slur in the book, and he's going to be like, yes, master.
I got
Okay,
you.
I want to show me that picture, or what slavery are you talking about? And I will want to be a Hebrew Israelite. I'll be like, yeah,
Is it
okay,
lawful to put a non-Israelite over an Israelite?
that is irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant? Can you
I
tell me
will
why?
not allow you to
I
send
got
us
you.
in
Can you
another
tell
wild
me
goose
why
chase.
it's irrelevant?
Because we're talking about how slavery is going to be attractive. How is this going to make me want to be a Hebrew Israelite?
Yeah, so okay, I got you. I'm going to explain it to you because I know you haven't actually read, you don't really know. So, the reason we go into slavery is because we break the commandments that's written in the Torah, which Muhammad came to confirm, correct?
No.
Oh,
You're
okay.
misrepresenting our scriptures, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. So I'm misrepresenting the scripture. Can I
Yeah.
read it
But
to
we'll,
you?
we'll get to Islam in just a second, but let's stay on
Okay, you
top.
want to stay on course for right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I got you. I totally understand what you're saying. We want to stay on course. That being the case, can you explain to me why the Israelites went into slavery and what that has to do with these verses?
No, this is totally irrelevant to what
Can you
I'm asking
explain
you.
why it's irrelevant?
They broke the commandments of God or something like that?
Exactly. That has nothing to do with any of these
Oh my
verses.
God.
The images you're showing have nothing to do with any of these verses. And that word doulos, can you tell me what that word means?
Doulos?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Oh,
I don't want to know what it means.
I got you. When you're giving dawah, don't you tell people that you have to know the language of Arabic in order to really understand what's going on? You can't just take the English.
No.
Oh, this isn't one of the three times you can lie, Nadir. Come on now.
One of the three
Come
times you can
on
lie has
now.
been.
I watched
Hey,
my
listen,
father do dawah for years, Nadir. You're
listen,
gonna you're
listen.
gonna tell me this lie to my face?
No, what to learn Arabic? I
Nah.
mean, when you need to learn the languages
Mhm.
in the position you're in, because you're about to get schooled,
Oh.
and when you debate and you're trying to get up to like the more higher level understanding,
Mm.
yeah, you better learn that Arabic because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
about to school you in Arabic, but
Mhm.
not the common guy on the street.
Mhm.
Okay, so no, when I'm giving dawah, I'm not telling them to learn Arabic, but
Mhm.
you will in just a few minutes here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look. You are sending us on another wild goose chase,
Mhm.
Hamza. All right, because you don't have an answer. You
Mm.
know the Bible is lying to your face. It's stating over here inside Titus chapter 2, verse 9 through 10. It says that these slaves who don't talk back, they will make the Hebrew Israelite belief you have look attractive.
Mhm.
I'm asking you how,
Yeah.
and you have no
And
answer.
what my answer directly, so we can be clear,
Okay.
is that your understanding of the verses that you think are about literal chattel slavery are
Yes, it is.
misunderstood because you don't know that the Torah says we can't put each other in slavery and we can't put non-Israelites over us. So you have to explain your position
Mhm.
based on whether or
No.
not you believe the apostles are telling us it's okay to sin.
No. Look,
And
it's
then
not,
you
there's
have to compare
yeah.
that to the beginning of those texts that somehow
Mhm.
disprove what you're saying. You don't want to go to the beginning of the text, though. I don't understand
We
why
could
you
do
seem to
that.
be adverse to
Okay.
going to the
Look,
beginning.
who is actually in slavery, whether you go out and get new ones like you're pointing out, or whether they're only non-Israelites cannot slave Israelites, all of that is absolutely irrelevant. You're sending us on another wild goose chase. In no way does that explain Titus chapter 2 verse 9
Okay,
through
I got you.
10,
Can you
in which
name
it
a
says,
slave from the New
yeah,
Testament?
hold on a second. I think we are you don't have answers.
Can
Okay,
you
Hamza.
give me the name
All you
of any
have
slave in the New Testament?
no, no. Well, there's actually a chapter named after one, and his name was starts with a P. I forget what it is. Um, it's a chapter. Basically, he's the one who ran away from, and then Paul brought him back to his born again slave master. Philemon, something like that. I forget his name.
Philemon?
Philemon. There you go. Yeah,
Was Philemon a slave?
yeah. He's a slave. Yeah. So, okay, so here we go. Let's go back. I think I want to show you the difference, okay?
Mhm.
In whoever you believe these slaves to be is irrelevant. The fact it's talking about some slaves. My point to you, Hamza,
Mhm.
this type of ignorant teachings you are finding in your book, this is right for nobody. It is
Mm.
always wrong. Now, let me show you how Prophet Muhammad corrects this nonsense which you're reading in your book. And then we're going to get to Islam here because I think it's pretty clear that you don't have answers to this. Just
Mm.
sending us on wild goose chases here. So it says over here, whoever has a slave woman and teaches her good manners and educates her. Now in Arabic, it's ahsanu talim, which means give her the best education, then sets her free
Hold on.
and marries her.
Did we
Yeah.
just go into Islam and we weren't done with the Torah? What happened just now?
Yeah, we're almost done,
Or
but
the
I'm
scriptures?
showing you the difference here. Look, it
Uh-huh.
says that you should give them the best education. That's what it states in the Arabic. Now compare that with what you read inside the Bible. It said that they don't talk back. When you say don't talk back, that means you don't respect their intelligence. Okay? And that is very common for slave masters and slavery. They think that they're dumb people, they're ignorant people. And so Islam comes with a very different understanding in which it says
Mhm.
you give them the best education.
What
So
and how
which
does
one?
Bilal's life stand up to that?
Yeah, he was. From what we know, he's one of the great Sahabas of one of the great companions.
Oh, is that
But
how Bilal's life
yeah,
started?
he started out as a slave. But this is irrelevant. Once again, you're going
Mm.
off on a tangent here. So we
Mm.
can see here. We can
Philemon wasn't a
see here
slave,
how
by the way. I just
hold
looked
on a
it up.
second.
I just had to make sure that Philemon
Yeah,
wasn't a slave. It's actually assumed he was a slave owner, but he
he was a
wasn't a slave.
Philemon was a slave.
Show me Philemon was
Yeah.
a slave.
Hold on a second. I'll show you the guy I'm talking about. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah. I was reading about it in this article over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh man, they're gonna make me pay for it.
Mm.
I'm
They're gonna
sorry
make
about
you pay for it.
Yeah, but there was that one time. I think they were giving it for me free. But
Mm.
this is the name. I forgot the name of the slave, but it's irrelevant to the fact because I think. See the problem is you have your own Hebrew Israelite interpretation of the Bible,
Oh,
but the problem is,
whoa. First of all,
yeah,
do you know that the word doulos is the word you're using for slave, and it actually is in the blue letter definition as listing as a metaphor? Did you know that?
it's all
No,
metaphorical.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no,
no,
no, no. Hold on. Do you
yeah.
know that in the Greek, that word doulos can be used as a metaphor? Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
No.
okay. Just so we're
Yeah.
clear. Go ahead. I got you. I'm listening.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the issue here is what we can agree. There is no explicit passage in the Bible
Uh-huh.
which condemns slave beating. We can. I mean, I'm not even. I don't even want to give you some uh, an answer, an opportunity to answer that, because you'll take it as some bogus verse and say, "Look, the souls shall twain, and when they twain, it means no beating." You're gonna give us some weird
No.
interpretation
If it's
job there.
literal, it's obvious when it's literal. If it's not literal, it's
There
obvious
is
when it's
no
not literal.
Yeah, okay. So there is no verse in your book
So here, I'll
which
even. Okay, well, what about
condemns
Leviticus? What about
slavery.
Leviticus 25:43?
Okay, let's go. This is actually gonna answer something. Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
go to Leviticus.
Yeah.
Leviticus, what is it? What is it?
Leviticus chapter 25, verse 43.
Leviticus what?
25, verse 43.
I'm sorry, 43. Here we go. Okay, hit deny. Let's go to NIV here. Do not rule them ruthlessly. Do not rule over them ruthlessly, but fear God.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's all open for interpretation
Oh,
now. Some
now
people
it's
can,
open for
yeah, totally. Yeah,
interpretation. Now it's open for
absolutely.
interpretation. Okay, I
So and
got
see,
you.
there you go. Now that's very important that you laughed like that. You see,
Yeah, it's funny
the
because
problem.
you
No,
when
I'm
it's
gonna answer
something
you.
you don't agree with, then it's
Wrong.
open for interpretation. But when I
No,
show you words that are in the dictionary as metaphorical, it's not a metaphor now.
there you
Okay.
go. So this is a problem. You see, you should not have laughed at that, because
Okay.
what that tells me.
Mm-hmm.
See, some people, Hamza,
Mm.
they have a defect in the brain
Oh.
that they don't understand
Mm-hmm.
what is a fact
Mm-hmm.
versus an interpretation. You see, when
Oh,
I
okay.
said that,
I got you.
that is a verse that is open for interpretation.
Mm.
That is a statement of fact.
Mm.
That is an undeniable fact that
Mm-hmm.
people will interpret what it means. At what level do you reach ruthlessness versus
Uh-huh.
just pimp smacking the slave? So the problem,
Uh-huh.
with which you have is the fact you have no value for. But the interpretations
Mm.
is what you hold on to, which proves that, you see, the why I'm bringing this out is because my brain works in the opposite way. It
Mm.
focuses on the facts.
Oh.
And while your brain focuses on interpretations, and it
Mm.
doesn't have value for facts. So when you laughed at that, you exposed that there's a defect in your brain. But the problem is you're not going to be able to appreciate it,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not able to decipher between what's a fact versus some
I
kind of
got you. Did you know
ambiguous
this? Did you know
interpretation.
this verse was in the Torah? This is the Torah. We're in the Torah now. Did you
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
verse was there?
Well, okay. Well, let me take you to a Torah verse,
Okay.
and I'm gonna tell you why it means nothing. Okay,
Okay.
what you're showing us,
I got you.
Exodus, Exodus 21,
Let me go there too.
21. Yeah, 21, 21. So we're gonna go here. Um, it says over here. Let me get to verse 20. I'm sorry. Let me just pull up verse 20. It's gonna be easier that way. Exodus 21. I'm sorry, Exodus 21, and we're going to go to verse 20.
Mm.
Okay, it says over here, anyone who beats their male or female slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also talking about beating women in the Bible, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
it? Anybody who beats their male or female slave
Yeah.
with a rod
Yeah.
must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. Good
Mm.
teaching. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. But
Mm.
now let's keep reading. But they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two,
Mm.
since the slave is their property. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've got about eight different commentaries on the Bible. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
They all state that the fact that you lose your slave is enough punishment, because after 2 days, he
Mm.
dropped dead. So
Are
there you go.
those
You
are
lost
those
your
Christian
slave.
commentaries or what are they?
They're all Christian commentaries,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But do
Okay,
you
I
not
got you.
see what it? So you've got an endorsement, or
Mhm.
basically turning the blind eye to beating a slave, both in the New Testament
Uh-huh.
and the Old Testament. But they are not to be punished
Mm.
if a slave recovers after a day or two.
So this
Now,
being the Torah
yeah,
means that it would have to be acknowledged by the Quran because the Quran says that Allah gave us the Jews, the Israelites, what was
that
written,
is
and it was correct,
so
right?
irrelevant.
Why is everything I
Defend your
say
book,
irrelevant?
because it's Because that defect in the brain you have.
Okay, I
You
got you.
don't
Okay, okay,
have
hold on. Let's
that
pause. Let's pause.
ability to focus on
I got you.
tasks.
Hold on. You're okay. You're saying that there's a defect in my brain, and that defect in my brain causes me to not be able to understand the facts. I
That's
got you.
correct.
I understand what you're saying.
What does this text here state to you? What is
Uh-huh.
it telling? What is it stating here right here for
Okay.
you?
The text is literally saying anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But if they are not to be punished, or excuse me, but they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two.
Right.
Okay, which would the Quran would agree with.
No, the Quran doesn't agree with that. And
Okay,
I'll show
so
you that.
bare minimum, the Quran does say that what is written for us is for us, though. Correct?
Okay, no, before you go to the Quran, can you accept
Uh
what
huh.
is the text saying over here?
The
That
law is the law, and I don't refute the
if
law.
that slave
Uh huh.
lives for a day or two,
Yeah.
okay, and after you beat him,
Yeah.
you are not to be
The
punished. That's
law
what
is
it
the law.
says,
I
right?
don't refute the law. And also, we understand that this is not talking about Israelites, right?
Oh my God. Okay, it doesn't matter who the human being is. This is wrong, man, no matter what,
Uh huh.
right?
Is it wrong? Is it wrong? Never mind. I won't say that. I'll keep it now. I'll be
So
nice.
remember, when you castrate him,
Hmm.
if he survives a day or two after the castration, you
Hmm.
will not be punished, right?
No, no. Who told you that?
Okay, when you beat him and you do, what does it say? Anyone who beats their male or female, and you're doing this to a
Uh-huh.
woman. Can you imagine? You're doing this
Okay.
to a woman,
All right.
and with a rod. So you got a rod and you're beating him,
Uh huh.
and he survives. But if they are not to be punished, if if the slave recovers, so you took that rod and you whacked him in the growing area,
Yeah.
destroying all the organs there.
Hmm.
That's one example here.
Hmm.
So you are not to be punished. That clear? Is that clear enough for you?
Okay. That's what's written in the law. But nobody said anything about castrating at all.
Well, if you hit him with a rod so hard in his growing that it destroys
Where
his
does that
genital
say? Okay,
area.
hold on. Maybe I missed it. Where does it say hitting someone in the groin?
Okay, look, you be okay.
What is
Let's
the punishment for
okay.
a person who in a fight pulls that?
Oh my God.
No, 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 no. Okay, you are affixed on the castration bit of it. I
Okay,
told you what
any
the
okay.
re.
Let's just talk about beating. You beat him
Okay,
to death, but he
okay,
survived a day or two. Do you understand that?
yeah,
So he's in the infirmary,
uh huh.
and then after 2 days he dies from the beating.
Hmm.
Do you get punished for that?
According to the law, you would not get punished for that if he survives.
Thank you. Can you
Hmm.
see how stupid this book is?
You think the Most High is stupid?
Now, I think the idiot who wrote this is stupid.
I got you, but you don't think that the Egyptians that were doing it to us were stupid?
Slave beating
Hmm.
is evil. To beat a slave, slavery is
Uh huh.
is evil.
Except for when it
Okay,
was Bilal. It's not evil when Bilal is a slave.
we're gonna get to Islam. Let's get to Islam now.
Okay, I
Let's
got
do
you.
Islam here, okay?
Okay.
Because you just got schooled really hard on your Bible. You had
Wait, on
no,
which part?
you know,
On which part was I schooled? On
you
all the
got
parts you
school.
didn't know any of the verses before,
Okay,
or all
you
of the
are,
2 or 3 verses that you
you
didn't know
know,
anything about?
one of the biggest
Or what
problems is
about the
when
word you said
yeah,
wasn't a metaphor that I showed you was a metaphor?
yeah, okay,
Doulos is a metaphor.
okay, okay. Look, the biggest giveaway,
Uh
which
huh.
I think what happened here is when I said that verse right there is open for interpretation.
Why? What, tell me
I gave
why
you,
it's
look at
open to
Hamza.
interpretation.
I gave you a fact and you
Mm.
laughed at it. That is
No,
a
no,
statement of
I
fact.
didn't laugh at any fact. I
Okay.
laughed
You
at
laughed at
you
facts.
because when I bring
Okay.
you a fact,
Let's get to
you
Islam.
dismiss the fact because you don't agree with it. It doesn't
Let's
align
get
up
to
with
Islam.
your point. Do
We
you
okay.
understand that I wasn't laughing at what you said?
No,
I
when
was
it comes
laughing.
to Islam, I was putting it off because now we're going to do Islam.
Okay.
So now you can bring up all your silly arguments you learned on the internet. Let me
Okay,
just
hold
end my
on.
share here.
Was I
Yeah.
Muslim and was I raised Salafi and learned several surahs
I,
by heart?
I don't know what happened in your house. I think when you were a small boy, after that, I kind of lost contact with your father. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. Okay. So whatever happened
Okay, so
between,
you do know that when you knew me, I was being raised Salafi. You know that.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, when
You're a
you knew me
4-year-old
as a
boy.
5-year-old child, I was being raised Salafi. Okay, all praises.
Okay. I don't know what that had to do with anything. But
Because you said that
okay.
my claims are claims from the internet, and that's a lie, sir. That's not
No,
true.
that argument which you've recited,
Okay.
those are all on the internet. I've
Which
been
one?
debating
Which one?
the whole thing about like Khairul Makarin, best of the deceivers, beating your wife,
Okay.
all those
What
things,
was the
and all
point
every yeah,
behind me bringing up those verses?
they're all irrelevant.
Okay,
So
and that's the point because
okay,
most people don't understand the verses. Even at 32 years old, I'm not Muslim and don't agree with it. I even correct Israelites on their wrong interpretation of the verses. My point
but
was
you
you don't
agree.
understand the interpretation of the Bible, and that
Okay,
was the point behind me bringing up the verses. I know that
so
that's not saying
you
Allah is
so
literally a
you
deceptive deceiver. That's the
Okay,
point.
Hamza, you accept. I mean, we're walking away with this. I mean, what you're literally accepting to from the last verse,
Uh-huh.
that if you beat a slave and he survives a
Uh-huh.
day or two afterwards,
Yes.
the slave master is not to be punished for that. You
Mhm.
accept that,
And we
right?
both agree that the Quran accepts the Torah. So we would both agree with that.
No, answer my question, Hamza.
I did just answer the question. It's written in the Torah. It's the Most High's law. There's nothing I can say against it. I'm not going to refute the law. Just
Okay,
like
there you go.
we're both
But
not
what
going
if
to
that?
refute.
But what if that's a devil who wrote that in the book?
Okay, show me. What do you? What specifically? What do you mean, devil? Can you explain that to me?
Well, this is what the devil does. The
No, no.
devil.
Explain to me what you mean, devil, because
No, no,
there's
we're
no
not going to go there.
mystery red man
Okay,
in the Bible. So I don't
okay,
know
so
what you
you
mean
just
by
okay.
devil.
So you think that this is so you started this discussion,
Okay.
by sending me something about some Arabs castrating some slaves,
Okay,
therefore
let me
Islam is
read it.
false.
Let me read it again because
And
I
I
know you're
quoted you
gonna lie
Exodus
about it.
21:20,
Uh huh.
which and then you said that's okay, it's just in God's law, I have to accept it. I have to accept it. Okay,
Okay,
that's
and
fine.
that being
So
said, if I don't agree with slavery, do I now have to have a slave? No, but there were men in those days who had slaves. These are the rules for those men who have slaves in the times that they have slaves. Okay,
okay.
listen,
So we
chill.
are walking away. You just said you have no defense of Exodus 21:21 other than it's God's law. I have to accept it.
I'm not going to do what the Muslims do and lie about the scripture. I
Okay.
don't lie about what is written. If the Most High
Uh,
gave it to Moses to write, he gave it to Moses to write.
you are just blindly following your bogus Bible. Who are you trying to impress here? Because I will, when we come to the errors of the Bible or even any evidence for the Bible, you will fall hard on
Okay.
that one
Well,
as
just so
well.
we're clear,
Okay.
real quick before we get into it, just so we're
Yeah.
clear, Black Israelite is a derogatory term, and I actually read the Torah and Tanakh for myself. The claims I was taught my whole life about it being lies was false. That's the reason I left Islam because I realized I'm an ethnic Israelite and I have to follow what
But
is written in
you,
the Torah.
yeah, you're following lies when it says that slavery is going to a slave being quiet and not talking back is going to make the Hebrew Israelite
Mm.
look attractive. There's a big lie you are
Okay.
following.
All right.
And you're trying to get us, you never once tonight explain to us how that's going to make us, how Hebrew Israelites, it's going to make Hebrew Israelite attractive. Everybody's watching this, dude,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody can see, that you are not able to. I mean, at the end of the day, debate, all you should have just told us that in the beginning. Well, I just got to accept what our scripture says. You
Mm.
just should have said that. You had no defense for Exodus. Okay, so let's now move on to Islam and
Mm.
let's see what Islam says. Let me start my timing over my clock over here. Man, that's Bible slavery was a horror show. It was
Mm.
literally a horror show. I am literally sickened by the disgusting teachings of your Bible, to be very honest with you. There's no, and here's why I say that. And here's why I'm going to tell that to your face,
Mm.
because I want you to take on that same attitude when we get to Islam.
Mm.
Okay, I want you to, if you see those type of disgusting teachings as what we found in your Bible, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to call it out. And I want you to slam Islam just as hard as I am doing with the Bible.
You mean
Okay?
like how Muhammad took a 6-year-old and consummated
That's
at 9?
Hamza. That's not. We can
Oh, it's
debate
not
that, but
relevant.
we're
I
talking
got you.
slavery
I
tonight.
got you. We're talking about
Hamza.
slavery. And
We
was Aisha a
Hamza.
slave? Was she a
Hamza.
slave?
No, she wasn't a slave. But we
Oh,
can. You're going on. We
I
haven't even
got you.
begun, and you're going off topic because you know you're about to get
Okay.
another beat down.
Okay, I
So that's
got you.
every time you feel, oh my God, I'm gonna get slammed here.
Uh
You
huh.
go off topic about Aisha,
Uh huh.
about Khairul Makarin,
Uh huh.
and so let me start my 6 minutes, and let's get your and let's get this going here. Okay, so let me share my screen over here. We are going to talk about Islam and slavery. The
Uh huh.
horror show is over,
Mhm.
folks. And so, excuse me. Well, give me a minute. Actually, can you? Let's take a break here. I got to find my notes, and
Mm.
then we can begin. All
Oh,
right.
you
So
got
I'm
to
just
find your notes. I got you.
yeah. Give me. Let's take a quick break here. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Taking a quick break, fam. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all still hear me out there? We're gonna be back. We're gonna take a quick recess. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think? What's going on out there in the world? What y'all feeling and thinking and such and what? I'm enjoying myself. I'm having fun. I'm having fun, man. I'm excited. I'm with it. Let's go. I thought there was actually going to be a little bit deeper than this. I thought he was going to be a little bit more qualified, but it is what it is. I thought he was going to have some understanding, some in-depth understanding, something more than, misinterpreting scripture. But hey, all praises, man. All praises for quick snacks. You hear me? Oh, I think we're ready.
Okay. I think I know what I'm talking about here now.
Oh, you think you know what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not 100%
Okay.
for sure.
He's not
Okay.
100% family.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and give it a shot here. Okay. Thank you. So let me go ahead and share my screen here,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to need to answer these questions and not talk about Aisha, not go off topic.
Okay.
Let's get on topic here.
Okay.
So when we talk about Islam, in fact, let me start my little clock over here. I'll take 6 minutes here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Excuse me. So the horror show is over.
Mm.
Islam, actually, when we talk about Islam and slavery, it is truly one of the greatest evidences for Islam. And outright, can we say Islam condemns slavery? Absolutely, we can say that. And that was a verse which there's no verse in the Bible which absolutely condemns slavery at all. So
Except
first of all,
for
hold on. Let me, Hamza. Let me finish my six
uh-huh.
minutes, please. What is slavery?
Mm.
A slave was considered by law as a property or chattel, or was a property of the slave master,
Mm-hmm.
and was deprived of most of his rights. So that's what slavery. But what Islam did,
Mm-hmm.
Islam overrules all man-made laws. So
Mm.
all man-made laws, whether it be slavery, democracy, whatever it may be, Islam overrules that and replaces it with Islamic Sharia law.
Mm.
As we see inside the following verse, and whosoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, then verily they are the disbelievers.
Mm.
So when somebody comes and tells us, oh, but Islam endorses slavery, wrong. The version of a slavery which everybody knows and understands, Islam abolishes that. And Islam actually came up with a new version.
Of
And this new
slavery?
version,
It came up
oh,
with a new version of
Hamza,
slavery?
Hamza, allow me to speak, please. This is my 6 minute. I will speak uninterrupted. Okay.
Mm.
And so, why did it do that? Why didn't it just abolish slavery outright? The reason why is to avoid the humanitarian catastrophe which happened in the West as a result of abolishing slavery immediately. Rather, as we saw, it gradually abolished slavery, and as we find from the following hadith, Muhammad himself owned slaves, but upon his death, it states over here, Allah's messenger did not leave a dinar nor dirham, or male or female slave. So it's a temporary accommodation so that you can do what? You can give them the best education. So when you give them the best education, by the time it comes to release them, they're going to hit the ground running. That's what Islam teaches about slavery. And so let's go ahead and take, and the most important part of tonight's discussion is the fact that it's all the horror shows about castration, beating a slave, all of that is condemned in Islam. Let's read the following hadith over here. It says, excuse me. It says Umar, a freed slave uh, of commanded me to cut up some meat. Then a poor man came up to me and I gave him some. Wait a second, freed slave. Some meat, okay, when my master found out about that, he beat me. So look what he did. Did he just patiently accept the beating? Did it like the Bible said? Like did it say, "Oh, that beating is your calling in life"? Did it say if you patiently accept it, God is commendable? Like all the crap we just read inside First Peter? No, listen to what he did. He understood Islam. He went straight to the messenger of Allah. He came to him and said, "Do not beat him." Okay, so there's a very clear, explicit passages which you will not find in the slave beating Bible. All right, and then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if anybody beats, slaps, or beats his slave, the atonement for him is to set him free. So Muhammad is not only condemning slave beating, but he's going on a big campaign talking to everybody. You are not to beat your slave, blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. And then the following passage over here, which I don't have, it's where he said, I'll find it for you. If you beat your slave, the doors of hell will open up for you. Okay? So that is a so-called slave beating in Islam. I'm sorry, slavery in Islam, which prohibits slave beating. It just doesn't get any more clear than that. Now, why? Now, what we find here is that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as I quoted before, once a slave in captivity, are they to shut their mouth? Huh? Where you don't talk back, like in First Titus? No. Allah's messenger said, if a person teaches a girl, a slave girl, I'm sorry, good manners properly and educates her properly, ahsun talim, the actual Arabic is, gives her the best, what's it called, education, he will get a double reward. And then the following hadith over here, which, yeah. So my point here is, it is a vast difference between Islam and Islamic slavery, and Christianity and slavery. And then the following hadith, which I'll get for you right here, it said, Prophet Muhammad, he never said oof to a slave. He never said, why did you do that? So what is this version of slavery that Islam is coming, this new version of slavery, which Hamza asked? It's the version of slavery where it says you don't even say oof to a slave. And he never even said, why did you do that? That's a so-called version of what's, you can't even call it slavery actually, but that's what Islam is promoting, and he never beat a slave. So it's a temporary arrangement, so you can give them the best education, and then you set them free. So, Hamza say, oh, my dad was Salafi and I understand Islam. Okay, talk to these hadiths. Don't talk about Aisha. Don't talk about all these other irrelevant arguments. You need to stay on topic, which is slavery and Islam. And of course, we could talk about all those other things which you are referring to, but you should talk about that. Now, here's a hadith which I missed, where it says, if you beat a slave, the doors of hell will open up for you. That's what we should have read in First Peter, that if the slave master beats you, you're going to burn in hell. But there's no such teaching like that in Christianity. Now, here's the hadith which I shared with you. Allah's messenger never struck anything with his hands unless he was struggling in the cause of jihad, nor did he strike a servant nor a woman. Okay, never did that. He said, let me tell you who are the evil ones, the ones who beat their slaves, which the Bible says is your calling in life. Okay, so I mean, laughable teaching of the Bible. And so the point which also I want to make, here, is even merely slapping a slave. Let's say you just go to a slave.
Your
as you
6
can see
minutes is up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally lost track of time. Go ahead, please.
So, for starters, it's completely okay to have slaves in Islam as long as you don't beat them and educate them. Okay, you can have a slave and deprive someone of their freedom. You just can't beat them, and you got to educate them. Okay, I got it. That's the Muslim way. Just don't beat them and educate them, and you can deprive them of their slavery. You can deprive them of their freedom. And on top of all of that, Muhammad himself said, "Get rid of the slaves." After he died, then he got rid of all his slaves. All right, let us go to, hold on one second. This is Surah Maida, ayat 44. We revealed the Torah with guidance and light, and the prophets who had submitted to the Most High, judged according to it for the Jews. So did the rabbis and the scholars in accordance with that part of God's scripture which they were entrusted to preserve and to which they were witnesses. So it says, rabbis and scholars, do not fear people, fear me. Do not barter away with messages from for a small price. Let's go back over here to Surah Al-Baqarah. And we did certainly give Moses the scripture, the Torah, and followed up after him with messengers. And we gave Jesus, Yahushai, for those who call him Yahushai, the son of Mary, clear proofs, and supported him with the pure spirit, but is not that every time a messenger came to you. And it goes in about the messengers and all of these things. So we both agree that the Most High gave Moses what is written in the Torah, which includes Leviticus 25, do not vex our own vigorously or ruthlessly. And it also would encompass if your slave dies, you get punished. Right? So we would all agree that that's from the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah. The other one is Surah Maida. I think that was ayat 50. For anybody that wants to look into that for themselves, the Quran supports the Torah in and out. There's no confusion. Any Muslim that says that the Quran does not support the Torah is a liar. Just like they say that Islam started before, or was before Prophet Muhammad, when we all know in Islam there is something called Jahiliyyah. There is no Islam before Prophet Muhammad. We know that the Muslims lie. They are liars. You get fed lies all throughout Islam. Okay, now back to what he's saying. His argument is that we should all be Muslim because it does not endorse slavery, but it is okay to enslave a young lady, right? You just can't beat her, and right, you have to give her the best education. So okay, you can deprive someone of the freedom, you just can't beat them. All right, I got you. Does that also apply to other Muslims? Can you? Is there any hadith on that? That was a question, sir. I'm asking you a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
Can you because Islam you can enslave people, you just can't beat them, and you have to give them education.
No, you cannot enslave people. No, absolutely not.
Okay, but we just read that the
Not the free
Quran
people.
endorses the Torah. That is correct. We
That's
read that
off
the
topic.
Quran endorses the Torah.
You're way off topic, dude.
Okay, but
You're
hold
just
on. Let's pause.
Hamza. You're just
Off
making a
topic
fool out of
about
yourself right
what?
now.
Off topic
Hamza,
about what?
what the Quran says about the Bible, whether
Okay.
you should follow it or something like that, that is off topic.
Okay.
Okay, but anyways, let's
Okay,
keep
so
going.
you say that that's correct. Does that then mean that Muhammad is a false prophet because he did not say what Yahweh said, the Most High? You would agree then, right?
Your book is corrupt. It's been changed by
Which
man.
verses are corrupt?
No,
I've heard this my whole life. Can you tell me which verses are corrupt? Because we have the
yeah,
Masada text, we have the manuscript, we have. I have a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Can you
Hamza,
tell me which
Hamza,
verses are corrupt?
you are off topic.
Can you tell me which verses are
You're
corrupt?
making a fool out of yourself. You need to
Can you
focus
tell
on
me which
slavery and
verses are
Islam.
corrupt?
Hamza,
I got you. So
you
are the
okay? You
verses?
want to go off topic? I'll give you what the read Jeremiah 8:8. It says,
Oh,
"How can
perfect.
you say we are wise when we have the Torah, which it was made into a lie?" The Bible, the
Jeremiah.
Torah
Hold
itself,
on. What
bear
verse
witness
was
against
that?
itself.
Jeremiah 8?
Yeah, Jeremiah 8:8. Don't make a
Okay.
fool out of yourself. Stick on
Okay.
topic,
I got you.
and we can. And the
We're going to read
issue is
Jeremiah 8 and
slavery
8.
and Islam. Oh my God, this is your. Uh, so let's see how much time you have left here. You've got about a minute and 30 seconds, and you just got schooled on your own Bible, and you shouldn't have
Yeah,
allowed
it
me to do
says,
that to you.
how do ye say we are wise and the law of the Lord is with us? Okay, let's find out why. Lo.
That's a Torah. The word in Hebrew is Torah, right?
Yeah, law is Torah. We know what that means, sir. We're not dumb. We understand what law and
Yeah.
Torah are
Mhm.
interchangeable. We understand. In any case, how do ye say we are wise and the law of the Lord is with us? Lo, certainly in vain made he it. The pen of the scribes is in vain. There's a semicolon. That means that there's an explanation as to what the previous claim is meaning, and that the meaning is the pen of the scribes is in vain because they were telling.
What's the word for vain that's being used over there?
Meaning the word for vain. Are you meaning in the Hebrew? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
In the English, it's vain. Let's go. Let's look at Jeremiah 8:8 in the lexicon. Jeremiah 8:8 KJV. Oh, not KJV. Lexicon.
Because you're just reading an English translation. If you go to,
All right.
yeah,
The word for vain is from a phrase meaning into a lie, and it's sheker,
right,
deception.
sheker, a deception, a
Right,
lie.
right. The
Yeah.
pen of the scribes. What are the scribes writing?
Let's not play your interpretations
No,
game,
no, no,
okay?
no, no, no,
Yeah,
sir. Was the
yeah.
Torah already written?
I believe parts of it was.
Okay. So the Torah was already fully written. The Torah is what Moses wrote.
Do you understand this just said that how can you say you are wise when you have the Torah and the lying pen of the scribe that's turned into a lie? That's basically what it's saying there.
Yeah.
And
Which is
this is not
what
the
right,
topic.
right. Which is
We are
what right.
off topic here, Hamza.
Right.
Way off topic.
So you disagree with the Quran saying that the Allah ratified the Torah for Moses and for the
That
people
is
of Israel.
not the topic.
Okay,
Do
that's
you
not the
understand?
topic, but do you
No,
agree or disagree with that statement? It is actually the topic to me because
no.
that
You
would
have
mean that
misrepresented.
everything
You
about slavery in the Torah would
okay,
be second-handed by
Hamza?
the Quran, and also Muhammad would then be a liar and a false prophet,
No, no.
right?
You're the liar is and the douchebag is the guy who wrote First Titus
I
and
got
all
you.
those passages
Is
in the
that verse
Bible
corrupt?
telling us
I got you.
that
Is that verse
slavery is your
corrupt?
calling in life. Those are the
Nadir, is
lies.
that
Okay,
verse in the
Hamza, you're
Quran
up. You're
corrupt?
done. You're down. You're done. Now your 6 minutes is over. Let's
Okay.
start our 2 minutes back and forth. Okay,
Okay.
so I will go ahead and answer some of your objections.
Okay.
What the Quran says about the Torah, corrupt or uncorrupt, is irrelevant to this topic tonight. You were not able to defend the nonsense which we read in your book, like that slave beating is your calling in life, things like that. So you
It
thought,
never
okay,
said
I will
that, by the
just
way.
let me, so you thought, okay, I'll just go to Islam and try to show that Islam is endorsing this book to believe in everything. All of it,
The
that is
Quran does
totally
endorse the
irrelevant.
Torah. It does.
Hold on a second. Hamza, let me take my 2 minutes,
Okay,
please.
I got
We're
you.
going to do 2 minutes back and forth so we don't talk over each other.
Mm,
Okay, and you got your stop clock. You could time me. I've got about a minute 30 left.
I got you.
Minute
I'm gonna
40
go on
left.
mute.
Okay. So you asked a good question. You said, but you can enslave people. No, free people do not go into slavery in Islam. But the question is, why is there even anything about having slaves at all in Islam rather than just giving, like what I was telling you, a much better version?
Mm,
Well, as I told you, and you were not able to refute the point, is that it is to avoid the humanitarian catastrophe. Look at the humanitarian catastrophe. Millions of slaves died and starved to death when they suddenly released and abolished slavery. This is a part of history which people don't understand. So why Islam just didn't, flat out abolish slavery? It is to prevent the humanitarian catastrophe which you're about to read on your screen. Let's read it together. It says, when Brazilian slaves were finally set free in 1888, they faced economic catastrophe.
mm,
Rather than experiencing the official proclaimed jubilation or freedom, they were simply left to their individual fates, without land, without money, without an education, and largely where they descend today, where they stand today. So it's not just that the slaves were basically starved to death. But it's cyclical now. The repercussions of setting slaves free is even with us today. That's the level of catastrophe which happens when you abruptly end slavery. So that's why you see there's slavery in Islam. It had the wisdom not to end it abruptly, but phasing it out, giving the slaves the best education, so that when slavery ends, they hit the ground running. Not just cobbling, but what did the best education so they can compete with everybody else. So I hope that answers your question, and that's my 2 minutes.
I guess that's why all of the Sahaba went corrupt after Muhammad died because they felt like they needed to make sure everybody stayed educated, and also subsequently why the sub-Saharan slave trade happened, and they put all of us back into slavery after Muhammad's death, and for hundreds of years that's what they did to us. And it's incredible to me that non-Negro, Black, Hispanic, Native American people, they really believe this gobbledygook mishmach, right? They really have the audacity to believe that the problem was not that. They think that the problem is just that we didn't have any skills, so we died. We didn't have any knowledge, so we died. No, when slaves were released, the dominant society forced us to not get education. How much simpler and easier would it have been for Muhammad to just say, look, free the slaves, including my own slaves, and make sure that they get educated in reparation? That's not what happened, is it? No. People who let us free, including the Arabs, and I know you're not Arab, including the Arabs and including all manner of nations and people, they intentionally starved us out. That was not just because we just didn't have skills because we were slaves. We had tons of skills. Nobody would hire us. Nobody would do any goodwill toward us. Exactly what happened when we left Egypt. Right? So we have these conversations about slavery. The fact of the matter is, the Quran endorses the Torah. The Torah gives us rules for slaves. Regardless of what Muhammad said when he released his slaves, when he died, you have to now say that Muhammad is either a liar and a false prophet or the Torah is wrong, which is what the Muslims say. They say the Torah is wrong, but they don't have any proof. Regardless to the fact that we have the Masada text, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Masoretic text, it doesn't matter. They all say the same thing over hundreds of years. They say the same exact thing. The Torah is not included in what the scribes were doing. The Torah is not included in what the scribes were doing. The scribes were
Okay,
writing
thank you.
down.
Thank you. I'm going to take my 2 minutes. So the problem is you are just not an educated person, Hamza. Okay,
Wait a minute.
it's
Hold on.
being hold on.
Hold
No,
on. Hold
this
on.
is my 2 minutes. This is my 2 minutes. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say whatever I have to. I'm going to say some very provocative things,
Mm-hmm.
and you just gotta be patient with it. Okay. Problem is, you are not an educated person. All right. You're saying,
Okay.
yeah, just let all these millions of slaves from freedom, and they're going to find their way. They're going to have all these
I
skills, and
never
they're
said
just going to
that.
hit
You're a
the ground
liar
running.
again. You didn't hear
Okay,
anything I said.
Hamza, let's not interrupt each other.
Mm.
Okay. Now, let me quote to you another reference. As you can see, I'm providing references, but my uneducated friend here, Hamza, has provided no references to support what he's saying. The issue of whether the Quran endorses the Torah off topic, it's hard to balance both these topics. We should focus on Islam. You should criticize what Islam is
I
saying about
did.
slavery.
I did.
Hamza, please, no interruptions. It says over here, now I'm quoting from the following reference over here, okay? How the end of slavery led to starvation and death for millions of black Americans, okay?
Mm.
It's stated over here quite the opposite. Instead, freed slaves were often neglected by Union soldiers.
That's
Not that they
literally what I
forced
just
upon them,
said. That's literally what I
neglected by
just said.
Union soldiers or faced rampant disease, including horrific outbreaks of smallpox and cholera.
Mm.
Many of them simply starved to death. So, when you read the references of of abruptly ending slavery, these are the catastrophes which not only did Muhammad not want to do in his time, but not to have it repeated wherever the Muslims go, and they're going to do all this type of catastrophes. Okay, but anyway, the issue here is why did they do that to us? That again, you're off topic. Why? Because you're not able to address the text which I quoted for you from the
Mm.
Quran and the Hadith, and you are being schooled on that. So you're talking about irrelevant stuff, that let's focus on the text. Remember, I criticized your Bible verses. Now you should do that with Islam. Let me see how much time I have here, real quick. Okay, that's my time. Go ahead.
Okay, so everybody literally just heard me say it was not that we just ended slavery and people had good intentions. This idiot literally just heard me say that and then went on to read that the Union soldiers were neglecting freed slaves. What does neglect mean for somebody that is clearly not versed in the history of this country? This person who has no knowledge or any level of wisdom on what happened when we were freed. I'm going to repeat it because clearly he's not smart and can't hear. The slaves were freed and were not allowed to use any of their skills. The Union soldiers and many other groups neglected my actual ancestors. Many of us died because we could not use the skills we learned in our servitude. In any case, I critiqued Islam. Here, I critiqued Islam. Here are the verses that I brought forth. I will read one again. Let me go back to it. Surah Al Baqarah. And we did certainly give Moses the scripture, the Torah, and follow up after him with messengers. The Quran just acknowledged that Moses got the correct message. We went on to say scribes were corrupting things. Okay. The Torah was already here and people already knew the law and the story of Moses. The job of the scribes was to recant history and teach it. How do you think Jeremiah knew that they were corrupting it? Because people already knew it. They already knew they were being hypocrites. You asked them, give me some proof that something was corrupted. Which verses? Because the law lines up with the Masada text. We're talking about slavery. In the Torah, we read verses about the law. The Quran verifies Moses got the correct message. The correct message. I want to know which verses are not trustable. Which verses cannot be trusted? That's my piece.
Okay. So you are constant. If you can see what's happening here, let's talk about the psychology of what's going on in Hamza's brain. You
Okay,
see,
hold on, let's pause.
hold on,
If
hold on.
you
That's my
if
two
you
minutes.
want to be insulting, I promise you I can make you cry on this stream. I'm not insulting
Okay.
you. I have not begun that practice,
Okay.
but if you want to play this
I'm
game
not
and
insulting you.
use
Okay.
torts
Okay.
and
I won't
insults,
insult
I
you.
promise you I'll hurt your feelings. I
Okay. Listen.
promise you I'll
What
hurt
I
your
want
feelings.
you to do, I want you to really hit me hard with Islam and
No.
slavery.
Okay, then stop
Okay. Then I do
insulting
want you to.
me and
Okay.
give your facts because the people can already see. Just give the facts. I don't want to play this game of insults with you.
Okay, okay. I'm not. Okay. Let me. Okay. Let me start. I was actually not going to insult you,
You
Hamza.
did. You said, let
How
me
did I
give you a
insult you?
peek in this person's psychology after saying, I have a defect in my brain, sir. My
Mhm.
IQ is
Okay.
149. I
Yeah.
actually fall in the path
Well,
of
if you
pattern
listen to my
finding.
debate, if you
Okay,
listen to
let's
my
go.
hold on, Hamza. If you listen to my debate on Friday,
Okay,
I
I
was
don't
talking to
care about
two.
the debate on Friday. I want
Okay.
to know your points.
Like I was talking to two white guys,
I don't
and I was
care about
debating
the
this.
white guys.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
know your
Let me
points.
let me take my 2 minutes. Okay. We shouldn't be interrupting each other. We're going to take 2 minutes back and forth. Okay.
Mm.
I said the same thing to those two white guys, and I told them it's not actually just last Friday, and they got pissed off, and that's because all they were doing was they're throwing away the facts and going for the interpretations, and so I say that to everybody. And I know, well, see, in debates, you gotta be really strong to get in the ring with me. I'll let you know that right now. Now, what's happening here? He's really not criticizing Islam and slavery because there is nothing to criticize. These are wonderful teachings. These are exactly um, what I wish those type of teachings were in the Bible, where it says if you beat a slave, you will burn in hell. Those type of teachings are just not in the Bible.
There's no
Rather,
hell in the Bible either.
hold on a second. Hamza, allow me to speak.
Mm.
So now he's talking about, look, your Bible. So this is a desperate attempt to try to salvage this debate. Because remember, he says, when I showed him Exodus and I showed that you can walk away from just beating a slave to death if he survives 2 days, I just got to accept what the Bible says. Okay, we moved on. You see, now he's doing damage control. Now he's saying, look, I can't attack your scriptures, but what I can do, I can show you that your scriptures endorses my scriptures, and therefore somehow, some way, I can try to walk away with some dignity out of this debate. But that's off topic. What the Quran says about the previous scriptures is not what is being debated here tonight. What's being debated is slavery in our scriptures. So, but the main point which I wanted to bring up here, and it's not just okay, Islam has a much better teaching that you are to give them the best education, but the other argument which Hamza will have a very hard time addressing is where are these teachings coming from? Let me explain. When you tell people if you beat your slave, you're going to burn in hell. Don't you beat your slave? Even a slap. You, that's not from the 7th century. That's like from today's time. So the issue here is if you look at what Islam says about slavery, it's extraterrestrial. And if not, you claim you're an educated person. Where are these teachings coming from? Go ahead.
Where are what teachings coming from specifically?
Okay, so I will just reiterate my point, and I'll let you address that. So
Hmm.
my argument to you, Hamza, is this: that let's just take example. Give your slave girl the best education, as you read from the hadith.
Give your what?
The slave girl the best education.
Okay,
You will
I'm
get a
sorry. One more
double
time.
reward.
Give your what?
Slave girl the
Okay,
best
I
education.
got you.
Yes.
Uh huh.
So, my question for you is if you look at the way people viewed slavery back then,
Hmm.
slaves were viewed as the most lowest of the low. You would not give them an education for number one, they're going to rebel against you.
Hmm.
You know what happens when you give a slave education? They're going to want their freedom. They're going to debate with you. They're going to do a lot of bad things. So, my point here is this is a teaching which nowhere you will find in the 7th century. People in the 7th century didn't think like this. You would, first of all, if you're going to give an education to somebody, it would be the high class people, not the lowest of the low. And a woman educate a girl? What? People would not educate women over men. So my point here is this is like an anachronism where this is a teaching which makes sense in today's time as society has evolved. But what is a teaching like this doing from a man, an alleged false prophet, in the 7th century in the desert? People back then didn't think like this. So can you explain that to us?
You make these torts like women. We don't see anywhere in the Torah where Israelite women are considered second class people. That's not something that is seen. So I make the argument that to say that no one was thinking like that is probably something you can't prove for real. So in any case, none of that matters anyway because the Torah has nothing to do with anyone but the Israelites. It has nothing to do with anybody but the
But
Israelites.
we are talking about Islam now.
Okay, I understand what we're talking about. The Torah has nothing to do with any group, but for some reason, the Quran tells you that you have to follow what's in the Torah. Muhammad did not say we have to now abolish slaves. He had them until he died. Correct or incorrect, he had them until he died.
No, incorrect. I just
You
showed you he freed all his slaves.
okay, when?
You want to show me the reference again?
Yeah, I want you to read it again.
Okay, no problem. Let me get it for you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Oh, not now, not in this moment. I think you took it off or something. You might have to put it back on.
Okay. Okay. So the two refutations on this point here is number one, the version of slavery in Islam is so good, I'm not sure I would want freedom
The
from
version
slavery.
of what?
The version of slavery in Islam
Oh,
is so
okay.
good, I'm not sure if I would want freedom from that. But here's a text which I was actually giving you.
Mm,
It says over here, Allah's messenger did not leave a dinar nor or a dirham or a male
hmm
or female slave.
hmm And at what point in his life is this mentioned?
This is close to his death.
Close to his death. Right. So why didn't he free them and make his people who were gaining power at the time
He did.
when he had the ability to free them, he did not take it. He
No,
had
he
the
did.
power to free them and did not free them.
He did. You're misunderstanding Islam.
Okay. We just read that his slaves were freed when he died.
Yeah. No, no.
Close to his death, he's on
No,
his
no, no.
deathbed. He sends his slaves to be free.
No, no. Hold on a
You are
second.
advocating that slavery is allowed as long as you don't beat them and they're educated.
No, no, no. You're misunderstanding Islam once again.
Okay, well
Uh,
maybe you need to explain it to me again
yeah.
because we
So
just heard what you read.
can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay. So the way Islam works is that
Hmm.
number one, it came with a complete new version of slavery. The kuffar version of slavery is absolutely condemned. Now,
I'm sorry.
the
What is the kuffar version of slavery? Are you talking about
all
what's written
men
in the Torah?
Yeah, that's Kufar version of slavery.
So you
Jews and Christians
disagree
are
with
transfers.
the ayat in Maida and Al-Baqarah.
No, you're misunderstanding those verses. But let's stick with slavery,
Which
okay?
part of those verses did I
Okay,
misunderstand?
Hamza, let me explain something to you.
Okay, I just want you to know that when you're done, I'm going to re-ask you which part of those verses I
What
didn't
I
understand.
Hamza, what I am seeing is
Mm,
you are trying to bring up a topic of the Quran
hmm.
confirming the Torah
Yes.
because you are desperate,
I'm not
because you are
desperate. I don't care
because you
about
are
the
not
Quran, and I don't
able.
believe that your prophet is a real prophet. I'm
Okay,
not
no,
desperate. I
because
don't care.
Hamza, because you're not able to refute the Quran and Hadith on slavery, so
Mm.
you're bringing up this other topic, hopefully that this can make a point with everybody. But it's not going to work because I have told you many times this is off topic. We
Uh-huh.
can definitely debate it at a later time,
Mm.
but you are to be criticizing Islam and slavery, which you're not able to. You're literally paralyzed at this point because you're not able to find fault with our books, okay? Because there's really good
Yeah,
teachings
there's
in them,
plenty of faults in
you
your
know?
books.
Good. If you can find a fault related to Islam and slavery,
Mhm.
that's really where you need to be right now. I'm
Yeah,
just telling you
yeah.
that right
The
now.
fault in your premise
Okay.
is that you
Okay.
see.
Now let me
Okay, go
answer
ahead.
your question. You
Hmm.
asked me a question.
Yeah.
Here's what Islam teaches about freeing slaves.
Uh huh.
And it says, and what can make you know what is the difficult path?
Mm.
It is freeing a slave.
Mm.
This is what you should be doing. Listen to what the Quran says in the following verse.
Mm.
It says over here,
What verse
righteous
is that? What am I? What are we reading?
chapter 2 verse 100 and 107
Oh, okay. So now we have a
177.
contradiction. Now we have a contradiction.
Okay,
Okay.
you can show, but let me read it and then you can show the contradiction. Okay,
Okay.
righteousness is not that you turn your face toward the east or the west, but righteousness is one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love for it, to the relatives,
Mm.
orphans, the needy, the
Yeah.
traveler. Now read this, and for freeing slaves.
Mm.
So throughout the ministry of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would be freeing his slaves to the point that upon his death, he had no slaves. That's what Islam teaches. And actually, if I was me, I would not want to leave slavery, the version of Islamic slavery, because Muhammad never said oof to his slave, never said, why did you do that? And the slave eats the same food, dresses the same clothes as a slave master.
So it hit his
So,
wife, but not a slave. That's what you're saying.
no, he never hit his wife, okay? Unless you're talking about a small child, Aisha.
Who
But
was his wife?
Hamza,
Who
you're
was
way off.
his wife? Correct.
Hamza,
Was
Hamza,
it his wife or not?
Hamza, you're
Okay.
off topic. Let's
Okay.
stick with
Yeah,
slavery.
I'm not off
Okay.
topic.
You see, you're going off topic because you cannot criticize the
No.
scriptures on slavery.
Okay.
So now you want to talk about wife beating.
Uh huh.
You want to talk about all these other things. You know what? I don't know. This is going to go up on the internet. Your father is going to be watching this
Mm-hmm.
debate.
Yeah.
Other people are going to be watching this debate. Make sure you put your best foot
So
forward
just
here.
so
Okay.
we're clear, so everyone knows, you picked the debate topic after I
Slavery.
already told you what my thoughts and views on slavery were. You
Okay.
continued with it, even though I told you I follow what's in the Torah.
And it's slave beating in the Torah, right?
Sir, yeah,
Yeah.
we already read this the scripture in
Okay,
Leviticus,
we read it.
and
Okay, so
we agree that Surah Al Baqarah, even though it just talked about freeing slaves, said that Moses was given the correct Torah. Correct?
okay, I tell you what, Hamza,
No, no,
because you're
yes or
no, no,
no?
no, no, Hamza,
Okay, let's read it again.
because you
And
are
we did
listen,
certainly give Moses the scripture, the Torah, and followed up after him
Hamza,
with messengers.
Hamza,
Do
here's what
you
I'll do for
disagree
you.
with that verse?
Hamza,
Do
here's what
you
I'll do for you.
disagree with the verse?
Hamza,
It
here's what I'll
okay,
do for
you're
you.
saying it's off topic. It's
Okay,
relating to what's written
let's
in the Levitical law about slavery. Do you
let's
agree with this verse
1%.
or you don't take the verse?
Hamza,
You
listen
don't
to
he
me.
doesn't for the record, all my viewers, I just want y'all to know he does not take the verse. He believes that verse is incorrect.
Here's what I'll do for you.
I don't care
You
what you're
want
going to do for me. I
okay.
want to know yes or no if you agree or disagree with that verse.
No, no, you have misrepresented the verse because the verse doesn't state anything about
Okay,
the Torah never being
let's
corrupted.
read it again about how
Okay,
you
we no no
let's
no
read how
Hamza,
the
we're off
law of
topic of
the
slavery.
Torah is
Okay,
actually
time
correct.
out, time out, time out,
Oh,
Hamza.
okay, now we have
We
time
need to
out.
get. We need to get. Let me take my 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay,
You have
uninterrupted
2 minutes.
two
Okay, go
minutes.
ahead.
Okay, let me take my 2 minutes.
For the
Okay.
record, he's not going to answer the question.
Yes, I'm not because I thought that was off topic. But let me.
Okay,
Let me. I'm
but
gonna
we
make.
understand that
Okay.
the reason I believe it's on topic is
Okay.
because it's in relationship to what's written in the Torah about slavery.
Okay. Let me
Mm,
take my 2 minutes uninterrupted,
okay.
Hamza.
He's not going to answer
Okay.
the question. I got again.
Here.
He hasn't
Okay.
answered any
Let me take my
question.
2 minutes.
He's not going to answer the question.
Here. Let me. Okay. I'm gonna take my 2 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
So what's happening here is a very desperate attempt on the part of Hamza, where we are supposed to be debating
Okay.
Islam and
Him
slavery.
not answering the
As he
question is
Hamza,
me
allow me to take
defacing
my
the
two
argument.
minutes.
Okay, I got you.
Hamza, allow me to take my 2 minutes. And
While you
a
insult me, right,
bombshell.
and not answer the question, that's what you want.
I did not insult you. I'm debating with
That's
you.
an ad hominem. It's literally an insult. It's what you're doing.
Okay,
I just want a
but
yes or no if you agree
we'll
with that scripture or not.
I'm about to talk if you will just allow me to. You're not allowing me to talk, Hamza.
Oh, okay. You've
Okay.
cut me off several times. I haven't had my 2 minutes in
Let's do
a
our
little
two
bit.
minutes back and forth so we don't interrupt each other.
Okay.
Okay. Let me reset. I'm going to take my 2 minutes.
Uh huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The desperate appeal of Hamza here is that the the opening of what I've presented of Islam and slavery
Mm-hmm.
is really it's unchallengeable. You can't criticize
He
that.
can't
And so now
articulate
he
any of his
wants to
arguments.
veer off
This is
and
why
start
you
talking
don't
about
trust
what the
them. They
Quran
are
says
liars.
about the Torah,
He can't
corrupt
hear
or
me right now. I put
uncorrupt.
myself on mute.
I have
Talking to
kept
him is
pointing out to him
pointless.
that is just not the topic of tonight's debate. That's the only
It's
reason
not the
why
topic
I'm
of
not
tonight's
answering him on
debate,
that. I want to
but I
stick with
just
the topic.
explained that
I
it's
want him to
in
answer
topic
the verses
because it is in
pertaining to slavery.
relationship to what is
But he's
written
so
in the
desperate tonight
Torah.
that he thinks he can score some points on this because he has already abandoned the
So let me
slavery
read it
debate.
again
He has
while he's still
conceded the
talking.
the
And
Bible
we
part
did certainly give
when
Moses
it
the
came to
scripture,
Exodus
the
chapter 20
Torah,
verse
and
21.
followed
He
up
just said, I
after
just got
him
to
with
follow what God said.
messengers.
So
And
that
we
ended the
have,
debate there.
and we gave
Now he's
Jesus,
getting
the
body
son of
slammed
Mary,
on the
clear
verses where
proofs
Muhammad
and
condemned
supporting
slavery and
him
told
with the
slaves to get the
pure
best
spirit.
education. There's no
Listen,
way in
these
his
people
mind
are
he's thinking
liars,
I
man.
can't win that as well.
These
So
people are
now he
liars.
wants to debate the topic,
These
what the
people are
Bible
absolute
says.
liars.
I'm sorry, what the Quran says about the Torah, corrupt or incorrupt. What I will do for you is I will
Listen, let's see how
entertain that
arrogant he
debate
is. What I
right
will do for
after
you,
we finish
I pray
slavery.
that
We can finish
everyone
it
in
up
his
in 10 minutes.
descendancy
Then we
is
can
cut
talk about
off
the
from any
Bible,
blessing that they
what
would
the
have ever
Quran says,
received
corrupt
through
or
Israel.
uncorrupt. And I will show
I pray
you
that there's
that
no
nowhere in
restitution
the
for them.
Quran does it
All praises
explicitly
to the Most
state that
High
the
God of our
Torah
fathers
has
for
been
strengthening us. I'm
never
gonna
been
let him know that's
changed
how I
or
feel
that it
before
has been in
I
perfect
get off the line. Look at him, he's going
perfect
to pass his
scripture,
two
whatever.
minutes.
It's just no. Actually, the Torah doesn't even make that claim for itself. So why should we even entertain such nonsense?
The Torah
But
doesn't.
anyways,
You're past your 2 minutes.
so
What claim
let's.
does the Torah make or
I
not
got
make?
15 seconds. I got 15 seconds. What I would like for you to do, let's finish slavery. It could just take 10 minutes. Then we can talk about what the Quran says about the Torah, corrupt or uncorrupt. Okay, so let's do that. It's my 2 minutes over. I would like for you now to address the freeing slave part, was where we left off at. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, I have my 2 minutes. I don't have to answer or do anything. I've asked several questions. He refused to answer the questions. I'm not going to keep answering the questions if he's not going to answer any of my questions. So I'm just going to talk to my audience. And if you'd like to chime in, I would like to give them a little bit of understanding. The reason why the questions that I'm asking are relevant to anyone who is confused is because his claim is that the Torah is corrupt. Now, whatever. That's his claim. Unfortunately, Surah Al Baqarah and Surah Al Ma'idah say that Allah gave Moses the Torah. How does that relate to slavery? Because everything written in the Torah would thereby be allowed in Islam. Because this is now given as passed down as wisdom to the people who say they're Muslim. All right? It's any stupid person with two eyes and a brain could obviously see why I'm asking this question. Does Allah agree with what was written in the Torah? Now, I am not silly. According to the Muslims, Muhammad could not read. I actually debate that. I think that he could read. I've heard arguments about the different dialects. I think possibly he had struggles reading the dialect that was given to him. They say whatever what was given to him. The problem is that now you have this conundrum. Either what is given to Moses is true and Muhammad is a lie, or the Torah is corrupt, which you can't say because in the Quran it already states that Allah is the one who gave Moses what is written in the Torah. It's not rocket science. Any idiot could understand what I'm explaining. Nobody has said that they're confused about anything. Has anyone on your side said that they're confused about the point that I'm bringing up?
Okay, thanks. That's 2 minutes. Appreciate it. Okay, so let me answer. So it looks like we're going to change topics.
We're not changing topics. Don't
Okay,
listen
so
to them. He's a
the issue
liar
here
like
is the
every other
actual
Muslim
verses.
debater.
Okay, Hamza, the actual verses of slavery in the Quran, he's not able to attack.
Right.
He's not able to refute. So Allahu Akbar, big win for us. Let's go and talk about what the Quran says about the Torah, corrupt or uncorrupt. Well, I'm still waiting for the passage from Hamza where it said that the Bible, the Torah, has never been corrupted and it is pure and has never been changed. There is no verse like that. But let us see
Is
where
it my
Muhammad.
position
Okay,
that there
Hamza,
are no
this is my 2
errors?
minutes.
Okay,
Hamza,
but
this is
you've
my
made
2
a
minutes.
claim. Is it my position there are no errors?
Hamza, please allow me to
Okay,
take my 2
again,
minutes.
he does not know what
Okay.
he's talking about. He's just making
Okay,
stuff up.
Hamza, let me take my 2 minutes, please. Okay, I've got about a minute 30 seconds left. Okay, so the problem is we know that from the Quranic point of view. Can you guys see my screen? By any chance, just to make sure, the Quran is actually correcting the false the teachings of the Torah. You see, the Jews came to Muhammad, and the very famous verse, they actually quoted that they said that I'm sorry, God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then He rested. Okay, and so now Allah revealed the following verse to Muhammad, which corrected that wrong understanding. Now, this is a very famous verse. Everybody knows that God rested on the sixth day or something like that, right? In the Bible. No need to even pull that up. It's a very famous verse. But look what Allah said in the Quran, Isaiah chapter 50, verse 38. And we did certainly create the heavens and the earth and what is between them in 6 days, and there touched us no weariness. No, we didn't get tired. So Muhammad actually used this verse to refute the Jews. So this is a clear correction to the errors of the Torah, in which they say God rested. Says who? Says the Holy Quran itself. So, and you will find other examples. That's my 2 minutes. But so this should answer Hamza here.
Okay, read that verse again for me?
Oh, you want me to read it for you? Okay, it's and we did certainly create the heavens and the earth and what is between them in 6 days, and there touched us no weariness.
And there touched us. That's okay. I see what you're saying. So I guess my question is then, how do you pick which one is correct and which one is incorrect?
So there is actually a hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on this, and your father used to quote it actually quite a bit. I remember back in the day, and it says that basically what the Quran we accept. If the Quran is confirming something,
Okay,
like for example,
I don't want to hear.
hold on.
No, my question was not, do you accept things because Muhammad said it? I want to know why it is you believe Muhammad is able to correct a text that did not apply to him, that the Most High said would never go to an Ishmaelite. I want to know what that is. I want to know why you go from A to B in that way.
I don't understand your question about the Ishmaelite thing. I don't understand what you're talking
Okay,
about.
I got you. So if Muhammad is an Ishmaelite, and the oracles of God, the prophecies, what is written in the Torah is only for the Israelites. And the Most High said in Isaiah, he was going to come back and only deal with the Israelites. Why do you think Muhammad's word is authentic in relationship to what's written in the Torah?
Because, first of all, whether even from the point of view of the Torah, there's nothing which I read in there which says that revelation will only be with the Israelites. That's an interpretation which some people have. Secondly, the Torah bears witness against itself inside Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 8. And thirdly, the Torah doesn't make this claim that you're giving it to. It never claimed that it will always remain pristine and never changed. The Torah doesn't claim that about itself. So why are you?
Okay, I got you. We'll start off small. Let's look at Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people on the face of the earth. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Somewhat.
Okay, so you agree that the Israelites were chosen by the Most High to be above all people on the face of the earth.
Again, it all that is it's open to interpretation when you say above. What do you mean by that? So I would say that's vague. I need more
Okay,
detail.
vague, sure, because it could carry whatever context. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. This is end time connotation. This is not talking about what happened during Isaiah's time. It's talking about what's happening eschatologically at the end of the world. It says that, and he will yet choose Israel. It doesn't say Ishmael. It doesn't say Elam. It doesn't say anything. It says Israel. So where is an Ishmaelite in all of that?
hmm Well, I think it's an argument from silence. I don't think anything in there is going to say that only revelation is going to be with the Israelites. But at the end of the day, I actually don't care because the
Mhm.
Bible is corrupt to begin with. So who cares what it says?
Okay,
The
which
what? Okay,
verses are
Hamza,
corrupt, and
Hamza,
why does the
you have
Quran? Hold on. Which verses are
right.
corrupt, and why does Al Baqarah say that the Torah is correct and it was given to us by Allah?
It didn't say it's correct.
Okay,
There's
I got you.
nothing in the
Let's read
Quran
it
which says
one
that.
more time. Let's
Yeah,
read it
let's
one,
read
so
the
we can
verse.
have
Here,
full
let's read
understanding.
it together, and I'll show
Okay,
your misunderstanding.
I got you.
Okay, what verse are you talking about? I got it up
Al
on my screen.
Baqarah, ayat 87.
80s, and it's going to say that the Torah has never been changed, and that
No,
everything in
I
there
first
is
of
corrupt.
all, this is a lie that we just
Okay.
talked about. I never made the claim that there was not anything wrong with the translations of the Bible. I never
No,
said
I'm
that.
talking about the Bible, the Torah, the text, the Hebrew text has
Oh
never been
God.
corrupted, right?
Okay, okay, but
Okay, it
let's
says
be clear. I
surely. Okay,
never made that claim. I just want to make it
okay.
clear.
Let's read this together. And we're way off topic, but that's
Uh,
okay. Surely we gave Moses the scripture and caused a train of messengers to follow him,
mm,
and then sent Jesus, the son of Mary, with
mm,
clear proofs, and supported him with a spirit of holiness.
mm.
But it is true, it is not true that every time a messenger is okay. But is it? I'm sorry, I can't even read. But is it not true that every time a messenger brought to you something that you was not to your liking, you acted arrogantly? Okay, my point to you,
Uh-huh.
Hamza, in this text,
Which Quranic translation is this?
oh, I don't know, I just Googled it.
Okay.
But my point to you, Hamza,
Mm.
in this text, and I can assure you, I've read the Quran on this issue,
I'm gonna get it.
nowhere
What's
does
up?
it
I'll get
say
you
that the
straight.
Torah is completely unchanged and
I know
perfect.
it's
That's
pissing a lot
just
of people
not in
off.
the text.
Cause
And that's also
I
the
know
Torah
you gotta
doesn't make
listen.
that
You gotta
claim
think
for
about.
itself. Only the ignorant followers say that about the Torah.
Hold on.
And can you confirm that?
Can I confirm that there
The
are
the
no
Torah
errors?
doesn't the Torah doesn't make the claim
Okay.
that it will never be changed and it will remain perfect
Did
throughout the
you?
ages.
Okay. So
That's
the
not the
Torah.
claim of the
First
Torah.
of all, who made that claim? Again, you're saying
Exactly.
things I never claimed.
Okay, so you
But
don't believe that.
what we do know is where errors are because we have the manuscripts and comparative text.
No, you
We
don't.
know,
You
sir, shush now.
Yeah.
When we have comparative text and we study the manuscripts, we find where there are issues, mostly with translation, things that we can show and prove.
Sure.
What
What
does
about
that
this?
have to do with whether or not that just said Allah gave us the Torah? That never said it was corrupted. I'm not telling you that there's never been a corruption. What I'm
Okay,
telling
so
you is that that doesn't say anything about a corruption. In fact, it says that Christ was sent as proof to support the spirit of holiness. What was written before? That doesn't say anything about what was corrupted. That says that we went off. Duh, we know we went off. That's why we went into slavery. So
okay.
there's
So
no contention with what that says.
I'm going to drop some bombs here, okay?
Okay, he's gonna drop some
Okay.
bombs.
Well, first of all, you said, if I just to reiterate your position, you say we know that there's been some minor changes, but we know where those have taken place, right?
My exact words were: we understand where there are issues with translations, and we understand where there are
Okay.
issues because we have comparative text. We know what's written in the manuscripts. Go
Well,
ahead.
okay, now I will take my 2 minutes. Okay, what you don't know, two things you don't know.
Okay,
And
I'm
then we'll
listening.
probably get back on topic on slavery. What you don't know
It's
is
needed.
that there are some scientific errors in the Bible,
Hmm.
which Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, corrected
Okay, go
those
ahead. I
scientific
got you.
errors.
Go ahead.
Okay, you don't. But we can talk about scientific errors in the Bible. Let's do that at another time. I want to get back to slavery, if that's
I'm
okay.
telling you.
And so let's proceed with the question. See, the thing is, you are messing with God's word.
I got you.
So
You got to
you are
slow
going to
down.
get
Remember, the
hurt
objective
in this
is
debate
to get
because I will
more
prove to you the
debates with
Quran
them.
is God's
You
word
got to
and
remember
what
that.
Muhammad is a true prophet. How I did that,
I got
and
you.
I'll show you how Muhammad corrected the scientific mistakes of the Torah.
Okay,
But
real quick though. Real quick though.
yeah,
Do you have information on
this is my
any?
2 minutes.
I
This
got
is
you.
my. Let
Okay,
me
go
finish.
ahead.
I got 1 more minute left.
He loved
I
that two
want to get
minutes,
back
boy.
on topic here because this is the argument which proves Muhammad, not just that, Muhammad is a true prophet,
Mm.
but, how slavery, the topic of slavery actually shows us that Muhammad is
You
a
said
true
what?
prophet. You see, that teaching about give the slave girls the best education, people in the, and
I
not
said
only
it a
that, but not
thousand
to beat
times.
slaves. These type of
I know.
teachings
I
did
feel you,
not
bro. He
exist
doesn't. I'm telling
in
you,
the
these people
seventh
are
century. And
liars,
I've
bro.
done my homework.
They are liars.
And
They're
I
the
can tell
best
you that it is
liars you
unthinkable
ever met in your
that
life.
people
I'm
would
telling you, they're
ever
liars.
utter these words back, not even until,
I believe
like, say,
some of
two,
these
300
Negroes
years
are
ago, when this,
Edomites, man. I just do, man.
it was unquestionable that you don't give an education to a slave. They're going to rebel
Okay, but
against
they're
you.
still a slave,
So
bro.
my
Like,
point here is, how could a man 1400 years ago have access to this
what
kind of
rebellion would
advanced
there be
knowledge?
if they were being
Because
treated
nobody
properly?
else had it at that time. My argument is this could only have come from God. There's my 2 minutes. Now, how do you explain that?
Your argument was that there are scientific mistakes, and then you went on to talk about how a slave could be a slave as long as they were educated. What
No, no, no.
scientific mistakes?
No, you're misunderstanding, Hamza.
Oh,
Hamza, let's
I
get back.
misunderstood. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, Hamza, I'm telling you,
Uh huh.
when Muhammad said, give the slave girl the best education,
Give the what?
the slave girl the best education,
Education. Okay.
that type of teaching wasn't available
Uh
in the
huh.
7th century.
Uh huh.
People in the past never thought like this.
Okay.
This is something which today we could say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds normal.
Hmm.
But it's kind of like this. It's like you're reading a book of the past and they're talking about cell phones. What? Cell phones didn't exist back then.
What'd you say?
Likewise, this type of
I know,
thinking
bro. I
didn't
know.
exist back then.
You
So
think
my
you'll get a
point to you
reasonable
is that this
conversation?
is
You won't.
evidence that Muhammad got this revelation from God.
I'm gonna ask him
And
in a
if I
second.
am wrong in my understanding, I want you to correct me.
Okay, I got you. So just so we're clear, you didn't say anything about scientific anything. I got you. So
The
the
real
reality is, again, let's repeat it. The Torah says you can have slaves, you can't kill them. Muhammad says you can have slaves, you just gotta educate them and don't beat them. Even though he beat his wife, who you tried to lie and say was a
no,
child.
no, no.
Aisha was his wife. She was a child, but she was his wife. In
You
any
just accepted what I
case,
said. Yeah.
okay, hold on now. You're saying that's not what I said. You said you were going to show me some scientific miracle. You haven't
I
shown me
will.
anything. You just repeated a
I will.
point from before, which doesn't make sense. She's still a slave. She's still a slave. You're giving me a point that doesn't matter. She's still a slave. It's irrelevant. She is a slave. Doesn't matter if she's a. It doesn't matter what they thought. You can't prove what the general consensus was of people with women in servitude in that day. Certainly, my perspective is the Torah. We don't mistreat our women in the Torah.
But you can beat him to death.
No, sir. Let's rewind. You cannot put another Israelite into slavery. You cannot put a non-Israelite over you in slavery. Nobody said you can beat them to death. You get punished for beating them to death.
No,
Sir,
you
I don't know
if they
what.
survive 2 days, you could beat them to death.
Sir,
So long
okay,
as they can
that's
get up.
not beating
Yeah.
them to death. You lied.
No, you can beat them, is what you're saying. Just not beat them
Okay,
to death,
all
right?
right, I got you. Just like Muhammad could beat Aisha, who was his child
No.
wife.
Well, off
If
topic,
they,
off
okay, it's
topic,
off topic
off
all of a
topic.
sudden, and now all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's off topic.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Okay,
let's
so
let's
you are
be
not
clear.
okay. So
The
I
issue
think that
is okay. Let's pause.
we're
You
done on
said that the
slavery.
title is the Bible and slavery. Okay, we're here. The Bible and slavery. Quran and slavery. Okay, we're here. Quran and slavery. The Quran says slavery is fine and it backs up the Torah. You just
Okay, that's
can't
your two
beat them.
minutes, dude. That's your 2 minutes. Let me take my 2 minutes.
Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
so
Go ahead with your
what
lies.
what we're seeing here is Hamza is running away. He's this is what I was saying from the very beginning. These are arguments that destroy Hebrew Israelite movement,
Okay.
that issue the anachronistic miracles. And in fact,
Oh,
I want to just share another passage with you, if I may. While
okay. Go ahead and share your
I'm
passage.
gonna, Hamza, allow me to speak. So let me share another passage, another anachronistic miracle
Mm,
which we're finding in Islam. Look at the following hadith. So there were, he says, but they're still slaves, but they're still slaves. But you got refuted when I pointed out that the wisdom of Islam is not to let slaves, you know, abruptly freedom, which could then lead to a humanitarian
yeah, you got to keep
catastrophe.
them slaves for a
That's
little
why
longer.
like we saw in the West, and the problems with that is that even the I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired here. Okay, even the effects of releasing a slave abruptly, immediately, those
Hmm.
problems are with us even till today. So to avoid that humanitarian catastrophe,
Uh huh.
it was a phased approach. First, give them the best education, and then gradually release them. That's
Mm,
the logic behind Islam. So now, as you can see on my screen right over here, it says a slave girl would take the hold of the hand of Muhammad, the Prophet Islam, and take him wherever she desired.
hmm.
So now we see that Muhammad, and this is from one of the many miracles of Muhammad, how he was
Miracles.
able to do that. But this is a walk and talk where she can now convey any kind of abuses she would suffer or whatever problems. Now, keep in mind, the kings would never allow this type of privilege to be given to the slave because they're of course the lowest class. Okay, so Muhammad at this time is a ruler, and yet a slave girl can grab his hand. So my point here, where is this stuff coming from? And as you can see, Hamza has no answers at all. And I've debated this. Nobody has any answers. This is why people do convert to Islam because they're reading like, wait a second, whoa, where is this coming from? This doesn't belong in the 7th century. My point is that these teachings can only come from God because society did not evolve yet to this type of advanced understanding which you are seeing here today. Now, of course, this walks us into the next topic, which is the scientific miracles of Muhammad, peace be upon him. But we can see that anachronistic miracle in the topic of slavery itself. So I will give Hamza one last opportunity to not go off topic and talk about beating Aisha because he's desperate here, but to really explain to us this anachronistic miracle of teachings found in Islam which don't belong in the 7th century. What's your? I'm going to give you one last time to explain that. Go ahead.
Um, in any case, the reality is Muhammad does not have any miracles. He was asked by Gabriel if he wanted to perform miracles in splitting the mountain, and he said that he did not want to do that. He's never performed a miracle. And so anybody that believes that Muhammad performed a miracle is just simply uneducated. Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, it does not matter what Nadir says or has to say. The Quran backs up the Torah, and the Torah says slavery has rules. The rules he says is that you can have a slave. You just got to keep him for a little bit longer, and you can't beat him, even though you can beat your wife. You can't beat him, and you have to educate them, give them the best education. Don't free them and make the people you have all this power over respect them. You have to educate them and keep them slaves a little bit longer. Okay, that's the reality. The reality is you're advocating a point that's not in the Quran. You don't know how to argue. You only know how to insult. This debate was a poop show, and I think it just shows Arabs, Ishmaelites, and anyone who practices Islam is a liar down to their core. I regret being raised up in a household that taught me this nonsense and garbage. And yeah, that's my answer to that. I pray that anyone who is Muslim comes out of that demonic, lying spirit, and prayerfully everything will go better for them when they come out of it. If you're an Israelite, remember, if you're an Israelite, you got to keep God's law. That's how we get to go back home and be put back in power.
All right. Well, looks like I did give him an opportunity, and I destroy all my opponents with this. I say,
Mm,
where is this teaching coming from?
mm,
And as you can see, he took his time to just trash
mm.
talk. He took his time. He lied. He said Muhammad never performed any miracles. The Hadith is filled with miracles. The Quran talked about Muhammad splitting the moon. as one of the
The
miracles. This
moon's
is all
not split,
lies
is
and
it?
all off topic.
The moon is not
He
split.
said the
He
Quran
made that
brags
up.
of the
That's an
Prophet.
unauthentic
Please,
hadith.
Hamza, please, we
It's
can be
not even an
interrupting each other.
authentic hadith. He never split the moon.
Hamza, one at a time, please. Let us one at a time, okay? So I think there is a point where I think we've come to an end where if you look at the slavery, what Islam teaches about slavery, it is unchallengeable. He went off on topic because he really wasn't able to refute the teachings of Islam, and the whole thing about beating wife, these are all lies. So the hadith I quoted for you stated very clearly he never beat a woman, never beat a servant. He's been refuted right there.
It's funny that
But
he
the
brought up
issue here,
Aisha when I brought
oh,
that
hold on,
up.
Hamza, allow me to speak. Since we're not really going to talk about slavery anymore in the Quran and the Hadith, we're kind of done, right? And that's how I finish my opponents, where the evidence is so clear and so undeniable. I mean, how can you criticize the fact that Muhammad made it very clear you never beat a slave, not even a
Mm,
hand slap or anything
mm,
like that?
mm-hmm.
While the Bible, it said this is your calling in life. I think
Doesn't say
what
that.
is
Never said that.
what is so evil
Mm-hmm.
about the Bible is that if you give this to the common man, he's going to see the justification for beating slaves.
The
He's
common
going
man
to
is not
going to
an
get the
Israelite.
sanctification. He's going to get the gratification for doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's where the evil is of the scripture. And I would like to ask, since I think we're done here, now what I would like, you asked for scientific errors. Definitely, let's do scientific errors next. I'm going to show you another spectacular miracle where Muhammad corrected the scientific errors of the Bible. And what I would like for you to do, Hamza, I would like for you to share this debate with Abdullah and your father and everybody, and I'll do the same myself. I'll share it
Uh-huh.
with everybody I know. Would
Okay.
you be willing to do that?
But I think that you're being disrespectful and facetious because you know about the situation between myself and him and my family.
Okay, I don't
And
know.
I
I
think
just
that
know
you're
there's a problem.
intentionally being someone who isn't worth the life that he has. You knew what you were doing just now. And again, this is another thing
Okay.
that Muslims do. You've known me since a child and you still chose to be disrespectful, insulting, and incompetent. This entire debate, you didn't answer one question that I had at all. And if you
Mhm.
ever bring up anything related to my father or siblings again, you and I are going to have a problem. I don't care what my relationship is with them. I'm not going to break God's law to satisfy an ugly spirited person like you. Okay?
Mhm, mhm.
Don't
Okay,
bring
no,
them
look,
up.
listen,
Did you hear what
listen.
I said about not bringing them up?
Okay, that's fine. I won't bring them up. I won't
Okay.
bring them up.
All
Okay,
right.
no, listen. I didn't know it was that serious. I honestly didn't.
No,
Okay.
no, 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 no. First of all,
Yeah.
no, I never said anything about anything being serious. I said you are being disrespectful and intentionally facetious. I said I want you to stop being disrespectful and intentionally facetious. I didn't say anything about them. I said you
Mhm.
need to stop being the devil that you are, okay?
Okay.
That you was taught to be by your disgusting, nasty,
Okay.
evil-spirited,
No.
ugly people. Don't do
Okay.
it again. We're not
Okay.
playing
Look.
this
Let's
game.
let's not
Oh,
bring up
you're
the
not
family.
smiling
Okay.
anymore. It's not funny when it's you. All
Yeah.
praises to
Yeah.
the God of our fathers, which strengthens us. May
Okay.
every one of your
Okay.
descendants be
Forget about. Okay.
corrupted
Forget about the
like your
family.
daughter is. Don't play
Okay.
with me, man.
Okay. Forget about the family.
Oh,
Okay.
for
Forget about
now,
the
let's
family
forget
thing.
the family. Now, let's
Yeah. I
forget the family.
apologize. I'm
Your
apologizing.
daughter's a
Okay.
Catholic, right? Your daughter's Catholic?
No. Okay. Okay. Hamza,
Oh,
chill.
now it's Hamza. Oh, now it's. Don't play with me, man. Play with somebody
Forget
else. Be
about the
funny with
family.
somebody else.
Forget about the family. Listen, what I
Oh,
don't
now
remember,
forget the
I
family.
opened up,
Okay, I got you.
Hamza, I
Uh huh.
opened up by pointing out
Uh huh.
that Hebrew Israelites, I use that term Hicks,
Oh, okay.
Hebrew Israelite
Cowards. Yep.
coward
Uh
on
huh.
the run.
Hmm.
So now you did bring up a good point about scientific errors in the Torah.
No, you brought up
And
scientific errors,
okay, wonderful, wonderful. The next debate will be on
which he
scientific
hasn't
errors in the
expounded on.
Torah.
He's just insulted me and my family.
No, no, I didn't insult your family. I don't want to. They're my friends. Why would I do that?
They're not
Uh,
your friends, and we know that. Stop lying.
no, no, they're my friends. They're my
He's
friends. Okay,
not my
I'm not going
friend.
to do it. Okay, listen. I will never bring up your father or your
Yeah, yeah.
family
Let's repeat that because you said it once. Don't make it a third
Okay.
time.
Be with you. I'm not going to bring up your father, whatever your relationship is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring it up. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't
Good
know it was
boy.
such. I didn't understand it was that serious. I honestly didn't.
You
I thought.
repeated that again. You're trying to be facetious.
Okay.
I just want you to not
Okay.
bring up my family.
Okay.
Okay,
Because they're
can
my
you do
friends
that? Can
too.
you not bring up my family?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
don't
Sorry.
do it a
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
third
Sorry.
time
Okay.
because you did
Okay.
it twice.
I won't even say the F word again. Because I won't even go there. Let's just forget about all that. Okay. Because obviously there's I didn't
Uh,
even know. I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know. Okay. So just forgive me on that one. Okay. So, but I do want you to share this debate with your other Hebrew Israelite friends. Would you do that for me?
oh, they're watching it.
Oh, they are. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm
Okay. Good.
live. I have a question. We have a question from the chat actually. What's your question?
Cool.
Could you quote the verse again about the slave girl?
About getting the best education?
Getting the best education. Can you cite it and quote it?
Absolutely. Let me do that. Let me get it for you real quick here. There you go. And I can also give you the link too if you like. So let me share my screen again.
We got Google and Quran.com.
Slavery. Okay, here we go. This is the hadith right over here.
Okay, so it's not in the Quran. It's in the Hadith. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, well, you were quoting hadith all day too, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just lost it. 1 second. Here we go. I'm sorry. Yeah, here's the hadith right over here.
Mm-hmm.
It says, Allah's messenger said, if a person teaches his slave girl good manners
Yeah, what's
properly.
the site? Is it a strong Hadith? Is it Muslim? What is it?
Yeah, it's in Sahih Bukhari.
Okay,
You want me to click on the link? Let me click on the link here.
no, we just need the link. I mean, need the source, the site.
Yeah, let's go straight to the source.
What number is it?
This is taken from sunnah.com.
Yeah, I got it. It's up right now. I got it.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. If a person teaches his slave girl good manners properly, educates her properly, and manumits her and marries her, he will get a double reward. So the issue there is educates her properly. The actual Arabic is, let's see, ahsan ta'aleem right here. That means if you look in Arabic, you've probably met somebody who's named Hassan. Hassan means good.
Yeah.
Okay, ahsanu meaning the best. Ahsana giving the best education. So what is the best? Like if there were slavery today,
Yeah.
you would be sending her to Harvard, Yale, or whatever the best education at the time. And what's interesting is why would people not educate their slaves? Is because then you've got a problem on your hands. They're going to rebel. They're going to want their freedom. They're going to debate you. They're going to refute you and your evil ways. That's why slaves were never educated. So this is something which is very strange to be coming out of the 7th century.
Okay, I got you. We got a question. What's the question?
So does the Quran advocate slavery?
The Quran condemns all versions of man-made slaveries.
Okay. So for you to educate your slave girl, does the Quran advocate the education of your slave girl?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So the Quran advocates slavery. Stop playing games.
Okay. Let me.
Okay,
I think you
nothing.
might. Hold on a second. Let me answer that.
And
You
hold
asked me a
on. So
question.
this hadith.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. I got
Let
you.
me.
It says manumits and marries her. So should we marry? So if a man has a slave girl today, gets a double reward if he marries his slave girl.
Yes,
Does that
if he
have to be
married.
according to her will or not according to her will?
Of course, marriage. Now that's a very interesting point. There is in Islam a woman's consent is mandatory for there to be a marriage, but there's no such thing in the Bible. So that's interesting. You brought up that point.
Okay.
But I want to address that
Show
one.
me an
Hold on a
example.
second. Oh, whoa. Now he asked me. He made a comment. I
All
want
right.
to answer him. So allow me to answer him. So he said, "There you go. You see, Islam endorses slavery." No, you might have been absent from my introductory. Islam condemns all man-made versions of slavery with the following verses: anybody who rules by other than what Allah has revealed, verily they are the disbelievers. And what Islam did, it came up with a new version, an Islamic version of slavery, in which Muhammad never said oof to a slave. Never even said, "Why'd you do that?" Never even beat a slave.
How could
And
they
a
even
version,
beat
and the
a
Islamic
slave
version of slavery,
if
you eat the
Islam
same
condemns it?
food, you eat the same food, and you wear the same clothes.
But they're
And
still
if, hold
slaves.
on a second, let me finish.
But they're
And
still
if there
slaves.
is any
Yeah, chill
hardship,
out.
then
I'm
you
telling you,
better
you're
go
talking
out
to
there
somebody
and
that
help
doesn't
him
have a soul, right?
inside whatever that hardship is. This is a new version of slavery, which
So
Islam
Islam
came up
recreated
with.
slavery.
I'm sorry, what's
It's
that?
slavery 2.0 with Islam, is what you're saying.
It's a 2.0 version, right? And it's a
Of
temporary
slavery.
version.
Look. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
he said that.
but all the disrespect. Look, my bad. I'm not trying to take over my brother's thing, but I can't stand here and let you disrespect him, disrespect our people, our community, our ethnicity, and you sit up here and lie. You're so dense that you keep saying Islam condones slavery, yet and still you sit here and tell me Islam made slavery 2.0 and made it better. Who's
Okay,
the
you see,
idiot?
okay, I think you might be the idiot here.
How?
So, yeah.
I'm telling
So
you,
what
you're
I
talking to
said to
somebody
you very clearly,
that doesn't have a soul. You're talking to
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that doesn't have a soul.
So let me,
He wants you to be upset.
Go ahead, speak,
yeah,
Nadir.
yeah, yeah. So and I don't want, listen, I don't want you to become Hicks. We're gonna have a debate on scientific errors
Hey,
in our scriptures,
I'm
okay?
telling
Because
you.
we're
look,
gonna do
wait,
that debate next,
look. This is
okay?
the thing.
So we're
I
gonna do
understand
scientific
what an
errors in
ad
the
hoc
Torah,
is.
and I don't want you to
I
run.
understand.
I
I
want you to
understand
be
what
there.
passive aggression is.
Okay. What?
I understand what ad homs are, and I understand what passive aggression is. It's
Okay.
what you're exhibiting. It's
Yeah, yeah.
what you're throwing out to us. I know what
Okay.
hits
Yeah.
are.
I
Don't say
eat.
you don't want
I
me to
eat.
be nothing. Just
Yeah.
speak on
Let
what
me
you're
tell you
speaking on.
something. I eat Hebrew Israelites for breakfast. And that's why they
But
run away from
Speak.
hating
the
me.
thing is,
You know?
Nadir, the thing is,
Yeah.
you haven't answered
You ain't
even one
you ain't
of
answer the
our
question. Go
questions.
ahead.
Let the people decide who won this
Explain to
debate.
me how
But I'm
Islam
not here.
condones slavery, but it recreated slavery at the same time and made it better.
Okay,
Go.
yeah. So all versions of man-made slavery that you are aware of, Islam
Hmm.
condemned all of that.
Hmm.
But why the issue is, why didn't Islam come and just abolish slavery altogether?
Right.
And as I have pointed out to you, and you might have been absent for that, by doing so, as other people have done in the past, it has caused a horrific humanitarian catastrophe. When, as I showed you, in both Brazil and America, slaves basically starved to death. Because there was no infrastructure to receive these thousands and thousands of
No, it was
people
because they were
coming.
starved
Hold on a second.
intentionally by
Okay,
the
no,
people who set them free, sir.
no, hold on a second. Give me a reference for that. I've
Not,
given
not,
you my reference.
Nadir, Nadir,
Now let
I get
me.
it.
Okay,
The
hold on a second.
slaves were
I'm going to
neglected
give
when
you
they
my
were
reference
released.
again.
I get it.
Hold on a
I
second.
heard what you
Why?
said earlier. That's also
Okay.
foolishness. Because why wouldn't, if Islam was so great, why wouldn't Islam set up a system, at least like America half-ass did with my ancestors with the 40 acres and a mule? At least they lied about that shit, right? Islam didn't even try to do that. They said, hey, we're just going to keep you enslaved and say
No,
that
no,
it's
that's
and
not what it
say we're
teaches.
not going to release you because we don't want you to be neglected and starved.
Let me. Let me. Let
Why didn't
me.
they set up a system to empower and integrate the people so they can be successful in
Hmm.
society after being released from slavery? Why
Right.
didn't they
Yeah.
do that?
So they can get the best education. Simple.
Okay. Okay.
No, no. So you have to be a slave to get the best education,
Let's say, yeah.
dummy.
Hold on a
How
second.
much
See,
sense
this
does
is
that make?
Mm.
look.
We're gonna put
Okay.
forth
One
all of
guy
our
can
Yeah.
talk
effort
at a
and
time.
Yeah.
resources.
Relax. Huh?
We're
One
gonna
guy can
Relax.
okay.
talk
Look,
at a
I'm
time.
calm. I'm calm. We're gonna put
One guy.
forth all of
Okay. Are you
our
done?
all of our resources and effort
Mm.
into putting the best education for our slaves,
Mm.
not free, productive members of society, but
Mm.
slaves.
Mm.
Okay.
So you're
Can I
gonna,
answer that?
so the king, the sultan, whatever you want to call him back then, is going to give a slave the same education as his child. Why not just free the slave and give that person the same education anyway?
No. I read what is. This is why you just don't want to
I'm
free
telling
them.
you what,
Now,
you're not
okay.
talking to someone who's really trying to
Yeah,
understand.
he's not
This
intellectual.
is
These are
not
very
an
simple
intellectual.
questions.
These are
Okay.
simple questions he can't answer.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because
Hold
you're not
on, hold
giving an
on.
opportunity. You're not
No,
giving me the
no,
opportunity yet.
you had 2 hours and
Okay,
44
you're not
I
going
minutes.
to let me
respect
talk?
you.
Okay, good. We're done. You're
All
not going to let
right,
me
all
talk and
right.
answer him?
No,
Okay,
go
I
ahead.
No,
don't
Let
get
him
my
answer.
yeah,
opportunity?
go ahead.
Like I
Okay,
No,
we're
we
done.
want to hear the answer.
we
Okay.
want to hear that.
Okay, so I'm going to basically answer you. Here's why you just don't release slaves and set them free. Listen to what it says here. This is what happened in Brazil.
Mm.
Okay, when Brazil's slaves were finally set free in 1888, they faced economic catastrophe
Oh.
rather than experiencing the officially proclaimed jubilation of freedom.
Mm.
They were simply left
Like
to
the
their
Bible talks about.
individual
Literally
fate,
like the Bible talks about.
without land, without money, without an education. So that's why Muhammad didn't do it. And
Okay.
it is now this is a catastrophe, and that is largely where their descendants still stand today. So when you
You're right
ask them, when
because
you okay,
those
hold on,
slaves
let
are
me finish
actual
my point.
Hold
Israelites.
on, let him finish.
All
Let
right,
him
Let
I'm
me
finish.
finish
sorry.
my
Go
point.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
you asked the question, why didn't Muhammad just abolish slavery altogether? So the answer now is because we just don't have the stomach for that. We just don't have the stomach to see what you are seeing on your screen today.
Okay, I
And
accept
if
your
you
answer.
What?
okay,
I accept what you said.
Right.
Now I have a
He
rebuttal.
literally said it while
okay,
you were
rebuttal.
talking.
Why
Here we go.
here or a follow up question I should
Mm.
say, not really a rebuttal.
Mm.
My question with that is, why didn't Muhammad or his cohorts set up a system for the newly freed slaves to be successful and integrated into society? Why did he decide the best thing was to keep them slaves
Until he died.
until he died? Why did he
Now,
say, hey, we're going to create a system so that when we free these slaves, they don't starve, they don't be ruined economically,
Mm.
that they actually help and feel like they're one with us and the people. Why did he choose not to do that?
Mm.
mm-hmm. Okay, so I will explain to you. First of all, he actually did. There was a system which was set up. Uh, as I showed you from the Quran, gradually you release the slaves. There's many verses in the Quran which talk about releasing your slaves, so much to the point that when Muhammad died, he had no slaves. So what we can see is that the slavery, first of all, this is coming up. These slaves were not created by Islam; they were already there. These slaves, and who are the slaves to begin with? The slaves are not the common people; they're the prisoners of war. So this is not talking about
What about their children?
going into a neighborhood and enslaving people. But when Islam talked about slavery, it's only the POWs. So this is who we're talking about.
Was
And
Bilal a POW?
I'm sorry, what's that? Oh yeah, so
What?
let me yeah. So what when Islam came on the picture, you had people who were
But I thought
already
Islam
slaves
only
like
accepted.
Bilal, and then you had people who
That's where I'm
did
going next.
enter into slavery, but that was only through war, through the POW system. And so now Islam was dealing with both of these groups of people. So rather than abruptly ending it, it gradually ended it, giving them the best education so they could hit the ground running. And then by the time Muhammad left this earth, he owned no slaves. That's a much better approach. But
Okay.
even today, why shouldn't we have as the Islamic version of slavery for those millions of Afghans and Pakistanis? Let's forget about black people. Let's talk about my peoples. Look, if you go to Europe today, you will see that there's millions of these undocumented immigrants who are starving and sleeping out in the cold. If we were to implement an Islamic version of slavery where you get the best education, you get the same food that you eat, the slave master, the same clothes that he wears, and it's not hard work. Let me tell you something. If you put that on a website, that website would crash with all the millions of poor Pakistani people who would love to come to America and Europe under that so-called slave
So you're
system,
an
because
advocate of slavery.
the Islamic, a
Okay,
temporary
he's an advocate
Islamic
of
version of
slavery.
slavery for
So
my
That's crazy.
peoples.
so
Okay,
okay.
so we
So
can
I have a
feed and clothe them.
you talking about at the Afghanis. I have a question. What's the
Sure,
predominant religion of Afghanistan?
it's Islam.
So why isn't Islam doing what you said Muhammad told them to do, which is implement this gradual great slavery?
Well, how do you know Muslims didn't do that?
No, now you said it's not happening. It would be great if it happened.
Yeah.
Why in a country where the predominant religion is
Mhm.
Islam and they follow Muhammad are they not doing this crap that you're talking about?
I don't know of any slave practices taking place in Afghanistan
Why
Pakistan
not?
right
Since
now.
it's so
Yeah.
great, you
Yeah,
advocate for
there's
this.
articles about it. Don't believe me.
Yeah.
You also advocate for this wonderful form of slavery, slavery
Mhm.
2.0, instituted by Muhammad, as you say.
Yep.
But these Mohammedans, these followers of Islam, are still not following Muhammad. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, first of all, we read from the scripture that if you even beat a slave, you are to set him
We're not
free.
talking about beating the slave.
Okay.
We're
So
talking
if
about
anyone look,
why these people.
well,
We're talking about the inconsistency.
your question is how is policing the Muslims now to follow the Islamic practices?
Isn't that what happens over there? Don't
Well,
they?
I don't
Don't the
know.
people get policed? If I go to Dubai with my wife and kiss her in public, what's gonna happen?
In Dubai, I don't know what's going to happen.
You get locked up.
You get locked up.
Also, if I'm in Saudi and
Okay,
I get caught doing black magic outside in Saudi, what happens?
doing black magic outside of Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know because a non-Muslim doing black magic, I don't know what
No.
the
It,
ruling of it is.
What is the law for people that get caught doing black magic in Saudi? I know from experience what the
Mhm.
law is in Saudi for you get beheaded right there.
What's a law in Torah for doing black magic?
Witchcraft, the sin of
Yeah,
witchcraft.
witchcraft.
yeah, it's death.
Right. Nobody is saying
That's
that's not
why.
the point.
Right.
He's saying that Muslims get policed according to their laws and their
Exactly
location.
all the time.
Well,
The
I'll tell
laws
you
are
what.
based off the Quran over
Listen,
there
listen.
in the
No,
Middle
no.
East.
Now you're going into a topic. See, here's what the problem is. When the
We're
issue of the
getting into
Islamic
it.
scriptures, we're now veering off of that to look at individual Muslim behavior.
You brought it
And I
up.
think
I just
we want to
asked.
bring it back to the scripture.
Okay,
You
bring
need
it
to
back.
attack that.
Mm.
But I tell you what,
Who's
look, it's almost 6 o'clock over here. It's I think we've been debating for almost 3 hours now. So I tell you what, this will go up on my
if you could just one more question, I
yeah,
give
yeah.
you my word, I will be calm. One more question that I'd like to understand. This is on the topic of Muhammad and Aisha.
Mhm.
It's kind of a two-part question. Let's start when they first got together. Aisha was 6 when he married her. He consummated his marriage when she was 9. For the record, Muhammad was the first freaky ass nigga. He was the first 69 guy.
Damn crazy. I ain't like
Why is that? How is that okay? And why? And later on in her life, when Muhammad snuck out the house and waited until Aisha was asleep, or he thought she was asleep, he snuck out. She snuck out behind him, followed him, saw that he was coming back to the house, ran to the house. Muhammad got to the house and asked her, "Why are you out of breath?" They had a back and forth, and he hit her in the chest. Is that okay in Islam?
For a child again. So the issue about Muhammad nudged her. And I don't know about the whole context you gave me, but there is a hadith where he nudged her in the chest.
Oh,
But
that
at
was a
that
nudge.
time,
Oh,
she was a child. But as you saw from the hadith, Muhammad never hit a woman. But if you're talking about a child, then it's okay. Then that's not a
it's
problem.
okay to hit a child even if she's your wife, a child wife.
Yeah, a nudge in the chest. But he
So
would nudge everybody.
so as a
Yeah.
as a pedo, you can nudge your
Yeah.
child wife
Now you
in the
can't hold
chest.
on a second. As an Israelite, you cannot argue that because
What are you
you
talking
got
about?
you.
You have
Okay,
no
I
records
will.
of
Let
you
me
have,
let me share.
Hold on, let him talk.
all right, go ahead. I want to hear this.
He's
Yeah.
gonna bring up
Okay,
the
so
Talmud. Go ahead.
yeah, so we're gonna go to we're gonna see girls getting molested by the Lord
Oh, I
order
know what he's
inside
gonna do.
By
the
the
Bible.
Lord?
No. 'Cause look,
Yeah, hold
I
on, let's
already know
go
where
there.
he's
Let's
gonna go.
go
Just
there.
let him
Okay,
talk.
go
He's
ahead.
gonna crucify
Yeah, here
himself.
we go.
He just
Okay,
the
so
same
let's
stuff.
go to let's go to Numbers chapter. Can you see my screen?
No.
No.
Let me share. I'm going to share the Numbers chapter 31 verse 18.
Yeah.
And we're going to see who, if we can really use words like pedo for Islam, if you're coming from a biblical background. Okay,
Mhm.
so it says over here, this is talking about they came to Moses. He says, "Have you allowed all the women to live?" He asked them. They were the ones who were following Balaam's advice and enticed the Israelites to be unfaithful. And I go and said, "Now kill all the boys and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but save for yourselves every little girl
Okay.
who has never slept with a man." Now, here's my point. There's 2 points which need to be made on this.
All right.
How do you determine every woman who has slept with a man?
Go ahead.
Well, all of these little girls were fondled by these grown men, okay, to determine their virginity, which, by the way, is a scientific error because virginity cannot be determined this way. Okay, but we'll get to
Oh,
that.
there's no such thing
Yeah,
as a hymen and that being broken,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, there are girls who don't have hymen. There are girls who have been sexually
Okay, well then
molested.
it's
There
not
are
And
a.
women. Yeah.
Go ahead.
right, that
So
wouldn't be a
we'll
scientific.
we will get
All
to
right,
the
all right.
to
Let's
the
go ahead, please.
scientific error later. But the point here is all these little girls were wrestled down by these grown men and fingered by the for the Lord, right? And then it says, but the little girls are for you. But save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. That's what you get
What
for
verse is that?
yourself. So if
You
you
said what verse
criticize
is
the
that?
marriage of
Numbers
Aisha,
31.
I say, listen, the marriage of Aisha is much better than Numbers 31,
Uh-huh.
verse 18.
I
I'll
got
take
you.
that over
Wow, that's crazy.
Right.
over this. Okay.
So,
But
so
Okay,
what's
hold on.
very important to understand, these God followers, these Hebrew Israelites are doing, they're breaking into people's homes, they're wrestling their daughters down to the floor, and they're fingering them. Okay, to determine, I get you, little virgin, huh? You little virgin. That's what your book teaches. So upon this basis, how dare you criticize Aisha? Okay, so this
I'm not
criticism should
criticizing
never
the
come from
innocent
you.
little girl. I'm criticizing the man who you feel like is a
Yeah.
prophet of
Right.
the
What
Most
does
High,
That's
what about
obvious.
these little girls
That's
for
who
you?
obvious.
saw fit to have intercourse with
Yeah.
a 9-year-old.
I
But
got
also, this is your
Yeah.
assertion of what that
Yeah.
scripture
Hold
is
on, I
saying
got
and
you.
how they would determine
I
something.
got, and I'm finna
Go
read
ahead.
it in the lexicon.
Go ahead.
It's
But
very
the
cool. I
little
got you. Hold on, hold
girls
on,
are
hold on,
for
hold on,
Hold
hold on.
on. He's
you.
answering
The
you
After
now.
they
scripture, the
all
scripture
got
says,
fingered.
hold
And for
on,
that, you're okay
hold
with it.
on. What are you doing? It says, Vekol hatav ashur or ashar yadwa zakar mishav hakawi. For yourselves is inserted. It's actually not translated. It just says spare them.
Exactly. It says don't.
Okay,
It's
which translation of the
I
Bible should
already
I be
told you it's
reading
from the
from?
lexicon, and I already told you
No, no,
which
no, 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 no.
lexicon that I
Show
would
me
read.
the King
it's the
James Version.
NASB lexicon. Look at the NASB lexicon.
No, no, no. Let's go to the Bible translation.
I
Let's not play
literally
silly
Okay,
just
interpretation
told
games.
you
but
the
literally
NASB
in the
lexicon.
manuscript.
Okay, then if that's the case, guess what?
Guess
Aisha
what
was
though?
18. Aisha was
No,
18 years
this.
old. There you
What are
go.
you
We're done.
talking about?
I can play
This
those
has
same
nothing to do with,
interpretation game.
sir. Let me read it
Yeah.
again because clearly you didn't hear what I just said. But all the girls who have known men intimately spare
Have not
for
known
yourself. Have not known a man spare for yourselves is inserted. That's not in the original text.
exactly. We again, like we said, we go to the different ancient
So all
manuscripts.
the little girls, so you accept the part
All the,
that
yes. What is
every
the
little
context
girl
of
gets
Numbers
fingered.
31? In
So
war, if
all the
you
little
go
Let him
girls.
to
talk. Let him talk.
Okay. Okay. Show me your reference. Why don't you do this? I'm going to stop sharing. Show me your reference. So you accept the part about them getting fingered, but
No,
as
we
for the
who
little
don't.
said
girls,
anything about
No.
fingering
Why? You
children?
see, this is what happens
okay. Hold on a
when
second. How do you
when you
determine
not
virginity
there.
then?
This is what
So
happens.
we actually have a process to know
Exactly.
if a girl is a virgin without
Uh-huh.
doing that to her. Okay.
But
Okay. How do you determine? How
hold
do you
on.
determine?
This is what happens
How?
because when you follow a degenerate man
Mm.
who produces a religion that overtook your people and forced your people, Nadir, to follow, this is what happens. Yeah, because you're not Arabic. That's
Okay.
not
Okay.
a
Okay. So,
religion of your
show,
people. That's the religion of
share your
Ishmael.
screen and show me where,
So
and the
show
little
that.
girls for you, where
All
it's
right.
not that for yourselves is not in the text. Show me that.
All right. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Share your screen.
present video, share screen, two monitors. And I
And
don't use, I don't
when I
use
talk about little
StreamYard. Hold
girls,
on.
their hymens are being examined. I will show you that
Bro,
actually from the Bible.
Oh,
numbers.
So that
all
Numbers
right,
31.
yeah,
all
I
right,
think
all
this is
right.
the one right
He's about to
here.
yeah.
share his screen, but
Yeah.
I have a proof text, backing up what I'm about to say in explanation of this verse.
Oh, there it
At the
is.
stage.
Oh, swoop, my bad. That's the wrong screen. Hold on. Stop sharing, present. Do I go to stop screen? Let me stop the screen, and I'm gonna go back to present. My bad, y'all. I don't use StreamYard. Share
Where
screen.
your friend? I forgot. What's your name?
My name is Nakai.
Were you here when we were talking about First Peter?
No, I was listening though.
Man, you should heard about the slave beating verses where getting beaten by your slave master is your calling in life.
You
Verses in the Bible. I like to see how you answer that.
Are you talking
You got
about? Are you?
your slave beating Bible is what you're defending, huh?
So
And
listen.
you're talking about Islam.
Hey, actually, yeah, I'm all for beating my slaves. I just don't hit them no more than 40 times.
Okay, that is so ridiculous and
That's
ugly.
what happens when you. That's what happens when you create a debate on a premise
When you
without
open
studying.
up the door to beating a slave, that means you could torture them. There's
Okay,
no
well,
differentiation
They
there.
believe the same
Okay,
thing.
okay,
so.
all right, fam. Whatever. That is that
So
why?
Hebrew Israelites believe in beating their slaves.
Yeah, because
Okay, and you're talking about Islam.
Hebrew Israelites believe in the Torah as Muslims say they do,
Slave
but you
beating
clearly
Bible.
don't.
Okay, your slave beating Bible is the one from God.
The
All right.
Torah.
How do I present this?
But what about all this baloney that this slave beating is your calling in
It's
life?
in the What about the Torah that advocates slavery and beating your slaves? What about the Torah that Islam say they believe?
Okay. Do
Does
you really
Islam
believe slave beating is your calling in life?
does Islam believe in the Torah?
We believe that it's been corrupted.
Prove it. What part of the Torah has been corrupted?
The verse which I quoted from you in the Quran, where it's okay.
So
we
because
talked
it's
about
Hold on,
that.
wait.
I want-
Jeremiah
okay, I
8
tell
and
you what.
8.
Let's get going.
Wait, Jeremiah 8 and 8.
Hold on, I'm trying to share the screen.
No, hold on a
Can
second.
you tell me what to do after you hit share screen because it's not coming up?
Okay, so when you hit present,
Yeah.
there should be when you hit present,
Yeah.
share screen.
Uh-huh.
Then you've got three options: Chrome tab, window, or entire screen.
Yeah, I got you. I did that, and the screen is at the bottom, but it's not popping up on the.
Click on it.
Okay, I tell
Click
you
on
what,
it.
I have to get going. So you should send it to me. Will you please send it to me?
I got you.
And we can end this. We can end this. And what I'd like for you to do, I'd like for you to share, and I will do the same thing. I'll have it up on my website. I mean, on my YouTube page. I'd like for you to share this wonderful debate, this big debate win of yours with all your Israelite buddies. And I don't want you guys to run away from the science debate because that's coming up next. And we're going to see how
Okay. So let's be clear.
Yeah.
You first of all, debates happen like this. We sit down together and decide on a topic. That's what we do. You do not tell us what we're going to do. This is not that, sir. I don't know what you think is happening. I don't know if that's how you do your debates, but we are men like you're a man, and we don't do things like that. We don't just go because somebody called us. That's not how this works. I'm not your slave. I know you wouldn't beat me, but I'm not your slave. Okay?
Yes, yeah. We're well aware of people of the Muslim community calling our ethnicity Abid.
Abid. We're not Abid. We're not your buddies.
As you just acknowledged,
you're following the slave master Bible. So who cares if you're going to believe in the slave master Bible?
But what you don't understand
let me tell you something. That white slave master put that Bible in your hand. He's the greatest hero of Hebrew
and called us the N-word and for some
you
reason
call yourselves that.
And for some reason, hold on. For some reason. In Acts, what is that? 13? Acts 13 and 1. For some reason, the people in Greek prophecies called the Israelites the N-word at that time, sir. You believe that they gave us that book? You have to substantiate that.
That just goes to show that you don't understand the Torah, the Tanakh.
Was King James a black man?
What relevance is that? King James didn't write the Bible. He didn't write anything that's in the Bible.
Exactly.
Why are you bringing that up? Was Ezra a white man? Was the prophet Ezra a white man?
So I see what you're doing. You're being the devil that you already are.
He is, because
you think that we think you're an Israelite because you're black. I get that you're stupid, black. So let me correct you. Mm-hmm. You're not an Israelite just because you're black, stupid. You're an Israelite if your father is an Israelite. If you read Numbers, the first chapter, verse 18, you would have known our position.
Would you debate Quran, the scientific errors in the Bible next? That's
no, man, hold on. Because you just politely just skip past
what I just said.
Was the prophet Ezra a white man? Yes or no? Do you even know the relevance of that question?
No, I don't think he was white. No.
What do you think he was?
I don't know what his race was.
He's an Israelite.
Okay, yeah, Israelite, but this
that's a race, right? Are Israelites a race? Is that an ethnicity?
So. I don't believe so.
So do you believe the Israelites existed?
Well, sure.
Do you believe that they still exist?
Yeah, of course.
Who do you believe that they are?
You guys are fake Jews.
Okay, great. But who are the real ones?
Well, the ones that you see in Israel, the ones you see in Europe.
So you have no understanding of prophecy. You have no understanding of Torah if you believe that. Yeah. So if that's the case, why do Muslims fight against them when they're God's chosen people?
What I believe. If
that's the case, why is Hamas blowing them to hell right now? If they're God's chosen people.
what I believe in the black community, you've got a lot of African Americans who have low self-esteem,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so
Okay, here we
when
go.
these groups
Sir,
come and
So
say,
wait.
"Oh,
hold on.
you're
I
the
want to answer
chosen
this. I want to answer
people,"
this. This is an
yeah,
important
they
question.
take
I got you.
advantage
Yeah.
of
I
you
got you.
guys.
Nadir, using something
Yeah.
other than your ignorant perception of our race, prove to us that
Okay.
we're not Jews. Go ahead.
No, I don't have
No,
to.
no, no,
What
no, no,
I
no, no, sir.
no, I don't
Because
care.
you
No, I
said
don't want
if
to do
I
that.
said you're
No, no,
not a
no.
Pakistani, you're an Indian.
No, I don't want to do
No, no.
that.
I
What
want to
I have
know if
already
you're an Indian or Pakistani. You're an Indian, right?
it means nothing to me. Listen, it means nothing to
Okay.
me.
Well,
Oh,
it
you
means
What
sound
I
something.
like
am
Paul.
It means
okay,
something to
I
us,
gotta
sir.
go.
You
But it means something to
Listen,
us.
He sound like Paul.
listen.
His
Here's my
ethnicity
question.
means nothing to
Here's my
him.
question. Are you guys going to debate scientific errors,
No, we're
alleged
gonna have a
scientific errors in the Bible?
we're open to sitting with you and having a conversation about what is the best topic for the edification of the people.
Okay, let's do that next time because I'm gonna what I'm saying. I don't want you guys to become Hicks, which
Hey
is
man.
Hebrew Israelite cowards running away from the
Okay,
scientific errors of
we
your
haven't
book.
done that,
Because
so
Hey.
I'm gonna
I don't
tell
know what
you,
you're doing.
I'm gonna give you my
Yo weak
arguments.
ass reverse psychology don't
Right,
work
it
on
doesn't
us,
work
man.
on anybody.
Just
You're-
Yeah.
we're
Okay,
not just
you're
gonna be
gonna
like,
show up for
oh, I
debate
don't
or
want him
not?
to call me a hick, so
What
I'm
did you
gonna agree
wait? What
to
did
it.
you say?
Are you gonna show up for debate or not
I
for on
just
the issue
told
of
you
scientific
that you
errors?
and I, or whatever, us three, will sit down and have a discussion. Go ahead. What's the date? When do you want to talk about what we'll debate? We will come up
Let's
with 3 topics that we're open to
okay,
debating, and then you
okay.
do the same. And we'll talk it. So you just pick a date. What's the date?
Scientific errors is what I'm going
What
to.
Okay. Well, you're not
Yeah,
our master, sir. We
exactly.
have to sit down and
it's a
talk about
challenge.
it.
It's a
You're
challenge if you can accept the challenge or not. That's
okay.
what the issue is.
Okay. Well,
Okay, okay. Let's get
my
going. I
answer
got to
is
wrap up. Let's get
okay.
going. And I think it was a very interesting debate. So
Yeah.
please share the debate with everybody, and I'll do the same. Okay.
Okay, may you continue to be cursed. I look forward to hearing from
Okay.
you for
And the
the
same
next
to
debate.
you. And the same to
Okay,
you.
all praises.
Keep following the Prophet Muhammad, death be upon him.
Death be upon him. Y'all heard it here live, man.
Wow.
Y'all heard it here, man. Y'all heard it here, folks.
Man.
It is what it is. We're going to set up the date. We're going to see what's going on out here, man. All praises to the God of our
Look,
fathers, which strengthens us.
Let me say this real quick, man. I was at the crib. I was listening to this. I was watching this. And y'all know I don't. First off, I'm T Priest in the car, man. Law and Faith Assembly here in Peoria, Illinois. And y'all see, I don't never be on the brother videos. He do his thing. I'm a Levite, fam. I just can't help but to come and jump in, man, when there's injustice.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? When there's foolishness and bullcrap going on, I couldn't take it no more, man. I'm not trying to hijack my brother's debate or his channel or nothing like that. But I couldn't just stand by idly and let this heathen continue to disrespect. And he's showing them respect. He's shown that Israelites can be cordial and we have decorum. And we can debate and we are civil people.
That's right.
But he ain't deserve none of that shit.
No, he didn't.
None of that. So I apologize. I do want to apologize. I wasn't trying to jump in here on fire, fam. But
you good.
man,
I was hoping y'all was going to be down here anyway.
Yeah.
What was that? Okay. Hebrew Israelite versus Islam. He just sent me the link.
he don't. He's extremely ignorant on a lot of things.
For sure.
We see that he ran
from literally every single question.
Everything, anything he throw this way, we could defend it.
Literally.
I'll talk about how Muhammad's a pedo.
He don't want to talk about that.
He don't want to talk about it. He's like, but you're about. You see, he didn't even let us go and exegete that verse in numbers.
Right. He didn't. And did you hear when I brought up? I was like, okay, so it's okay. You can't beat your slave, but you can beat your wife. He tried to say nudge. I wish you would let me go in on that.
Man,
it ain't nudge. He ain't nudge nothing.
He didn't nudge.
It says he punched her. He struck her in the chest.
But it's okay to do it if your wife is a child.
It's okay to do it if your wife is a child. He did not. He didn't. He was trying so hard to say that was a child. He would not say that was his wife. It was a child.
But we talking about Aisha. And then he want to say, because this is how you know he's a liar. He said, I'm not aware of the narrative. I laid out the whole narrative. I ain't never been Muslim a day in my life. All praises to the Most High. I'm not aware of that narrative, but you can do it to you can nudge your child. You are fully aware of the narrative that I laid out. That's in the Quran.
He knows.
Or in the Hadith.
Right.
So
I'm gonna stay on him. I'm gonna
on
update
that,
y'all too
though.
on the next debate. I'm gonna get it out of him, man.
Exodus 20. Let's go to Exodus. Go back to that. Excuse me, in Numbers, what he's talking about.
Numbers 31.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I think I said Numbers 31:18.
And read that and read that according to the Hebrew, how it's really written, not necessarily in Hebrew.
Oh, you talking about this right here?
Yeah, without
Okay.
the insertion.
Right. But all the girls who have not known man intimately spare.
That's it. Not for yourselves. Nowhere does it say so you can. First of all, nowhere does it say go figure out physically by your own personal examination if these girls have known a man. First of all, it takes a sick pedo to think that a child would know a man. This is talking about clearly the connotation is a young woman of a marriageable age, and according to Israelite culture and custom, intercourse is marriage, or at least a major part of the marriage process. So if that woman didn't have a husband, then you would be able to safely assume she hasn't known a man. If she had a husband, you can assume she does. But why would it say that? Why would they give the rule to keep the women that haven't known a man? Exodus chapter 23. Let me see. Is this it? Is this what I want? Yeah. Verse 19.
Exodus 23 and verse 19.
A verse that is commonly decontextualized by the fake Israelites, the fake Jews.
The fake Jews. All right, you said verse 19.
Yeah.
All right.
That King James?
KJV?
Yep. All right.
Verse 19. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk.
So you can't cook. A kid is a baby goat. You cannot kill and cook a baby goat in his mother's milk. This does not mean you don't mix milk and cheese or dairy and meat. I mean, you can't have cheeseburgers, and that's not what that means. This is saying when you have an animal that is so young that it's still nursing, has not reached a level of maturity, then you let it live to reach that level of maturity. There's a principle in the concept, at least let it get a chance to be able to reproduce. Just like when we get the lamb or the goat for Passover, it has to be at least a year old. You can't take no goat and slaughter it before then.
Right.
This is the same principle in concept and understanding with that verse in Numbers. You say if she hasn't known a man, keep her alive. She could still reproduce, at least give her the chance to. It's the same principle. It has nothing to do with you keep the little girls for yourself. Don't understand why if Aisha was 6 when she got married to Muhammad and lost her virginity at 9, why he would even bring this up and have a problem with it.
Right, exactly. In any case, man, we got to get up out of here, man. All praise is to the God of our fathers, which strengthens us. Stay tuned for more. I'm appreciative and thankful for all of the people that tuned in. It's actually a lot more people than I thought it was.
Man, that's what's up. All praise to the Most High.
But all praise to the Most High. Y'all have a good day.